Hi, everyone. I am figuring out how to rotate the stream because I'm sure you guys don't want to be vertical. We're going to go the other way. Hang on a sec. I'm smarter than this thing. I think if I try to do it sideways, rotation, just be vertical. That's unfortunate. Howdy from Texas. I was born in Texas. I was born in Dallas, actually, specifically. Hi, everyone. I am figuring out how to rotate the stream. I'm sure you guys don't want to be vertical. We're going to go the other way. Hang on a sec. I hear myself over here. All right, we're gonna go vertical, I guess. I can't figure out how to make this thing rotate. That's okay. Sigma, shoot me an email to my the plant and the pour at gmail.com, which you can find on our website, and I will help you out. All right. I don't know why it's making me do vertical. We're just gonna do vertical. Why not? Hi from Utah. And y'all can hear me, correct? Awesome. All right. Now I can manage chat, and I think we're gonna be good. Cries in 1% humidity? Oh my gosh. Oh man. I don't know about 1% humidity. That's brutal. That is brutal. All right. Everybody be on your best behavior. I don't have a moderator today. All right. Let's see here. Colorado Springs, Tennessee. Oh my goodness. Italy too? Norway? Oh my gosh. This is awesome. Well, welcome everybody. I am so excited to be finally doing this. I've wanted to do a live stream series for basically forever. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to have Tiffany moderate for me next time. So just full disclosure, I I thought maybe like 40 or 50 people would actually show up to this, or like sign up for it. You know what I mean? And I went to bed when we posted the video, looked the next morning, and there were like 700 people that had signed up. And I think we're somewhere around 13 or 1400 so far for signups for it. So um, blown away by that response. I was kind of joking 10,000 people, but by the time we're done with this, it might be 10,000 people. Who knows? So it's gonna be really really fun. Louisiana, Ohio. I was actually out in Ohio a couple years ago. It's a fun little trip. Um, Louisiana, yeah, love that, love that. England, Poland, geez, Louise, Salem. You're close to me. You're like 2.5 hours. Arizona. My mom lives in Arizona. From the moon? I don't know that I believe you. You're gonna have a hard time with this challenge. Um, you're gonna you're gonna have a little bit of trouble. You, gosh, actually, I don't know what's the. I'm not a sciencey person enough to know what what is. I did bring my. Hey, where did it go? Oh, I had it. Oh, there it is. I'm clinically ADHD, so if I forget, I felt like drinking a monster on growing a massive monstera. I felt applicable. Netherlands too. Good night. Yeah, Monstera and zero gravity. That'd be wild. Boba. I've never had boba. Fun fact. Never had it. This is my chat, by the way. I'm looking here from Texas. Love it, love it. Australia. Good night. I am Denmark too. Ohio, New York. Jeez. Huh. Wow. Well, that's honestly blown away. We started this channel. Oh gosh, last February. So year and like 2 months, and then started posting. Actually, ironically, from Arizona, we were on a trip with my mom, and my wife said you should actually do something with this account you've created. So you guys get to, you know, you guys don't really see Tiffany that often, but she, if you ever order anything from our website, she packs all the orders for you. So she is like a absolutely vital part of the of the industry, so to speak, of the things that we do around here. Without her, I wouldn't be able to do things. She's got my two boys out of here, which you'll be thankful they're not here because they're very, very noisy people. Uh, lovely, but noisy. So that'll be less interruptions. Willow, I know some of you probably want to see Willow, but she's upstairs because if the mailman comes and he's dropping me off plants today, I don't want her barking in the back of it. But Luna is sneaking back in the back here. She's kind of a butt, so she probably won't come say hi. We'll see there. Outdoor Monstera. Yeah, I don't know that I could pull off growing a Monstera outdoors in Oregon. In the summer, you can kind of get away with it, but in Oregon, we are just not gonna have that. Tomolka, California, lovely place, lovely place. Yeah. So Sydney Plant Guy is actually kind of a fun thing. Where's Luna? We can say hi to Luna. Cat, where you at? Did you hide? Oh, there you are. Ah, she's in the window. We'll get her later when she's easier to find. Yeah, so I started with Sydney Plant Guy actually. So my kind of background and how I got into plants in the first place is I I went to a garage sale and just found a Monstera, just a little. I don't have it anymore. We called it Monty, which I feel like you're contractually obligated to call your first Monstera Monty, and had that one for the very first year, and just kind of grew that out and really had a hard time with it at first because I'm a chronic overwaterer. And it wasn't really until I started watching it was really three different creators. I watched Sydney Plant Guy, Lekka Queen, and Hakuna La Planta actually were the three that I really started with. So, if you've seen my nutrient recipe that I use, it's very much based off of Hakuna La Planta's recipe, and then I've added to it over the years for things that I enjoy adding to it. But at the end of the day, we'll talk fertilizer in a future video. But you don't need to follow my example there. I just do it because it's fun. But really started with those three people, and really they taught me so much just watching their content. And I kind of blended. So if you kind of look at the way that I approach things, if you've got Lekka Queen and Hakuna La Planta, who at the time was doing a lot of hydroponic stuff, and kind of blended that with Sydney Plant Guy putting large plants on poles, and did that for a while. By the way, if ever anytime you see a plant like that in somebody's house and it's facing indoors, it's because it's normally facing out towards the window. Every other time we just turn it around because it looks nice on camera. But yeah, so yeah, I learned on Sydney Plant Guy. Fantastic guy. I'd love to meet Jan and Jan and just kind of get to know him a bit more. He's a bit far away from me. I actually talked with Lekka Queen Nora on the phone somewhat recently. She's a lovely human and stuff too. So need help naming my Tycon. Ooh. If you put that to a vote online, the answer that you will get is something along the lines of like Tycon face or whatever, Bodie McBoat face, Connie McFace. I'm not sure how you say that. Somebody figure that out for me. Um, Bodie McBoat face, but boats. All right. Awesome. Oh, thrips. I've never had to deal with thrips, Lady Balefire. Never had to. We don't think we really get them that often up here in Oregon. So I'm very, very, happy to not have to deal with those because they're so destructive. Um, not not fun. Oh, Nova's an awesome name. I almost named my dog Nova, actually. Um, Nice. Got the starting. Okay. Well, cool. Well, why don't we? We got people here. Let's get rolling and stuff, and kind of talk about what this is going to look like. So, first off, thank you for coming. I've wanted to do live streams for a very long time. Those of you that don't really know, I do actually teach live. So my day job, this, believe it or not, is not my day job. It's a full-time job, but it's not my actual job. I teach people uh, how to do automotive software things, basically. So car dealerships, how they run, and the software around it. And I have been doing that, been doing kind of live online instruction, and I've kind of was like, I'd like to do that with plants, right? Getting to do live sessions is so much more fun than recording stuff. So one of my goals, if I ever get to go like full time, not have to actually do a tech job, I would love to do like a weekly plant hang and do like this, but just we just hang out and talk plants, right? So, it's like a drop-in office hours kind of thing where you can show up anytime within 3 hours. I'll be doing my plants, and you can pop in and ask questions. So that's kind of my long one. Um, as far as why I am live streaming on Instagram, really great question. Um, the reason that I did the reason that I did live stream on this one is for kind of a couple reasons. So one, I knew that people weren't going to be able to join at all times of the hour. There are people right now that are sleeping. So by doing this live, it means that those people can jump in later and watch the kind of video on demand. As far as why we're doing it on YouTube, we're trying to kind of pull some of our audience towards YouTube. We've got like 50,000 followers on Instagram and Facebook, and we really want to start making long form content. So I've done a couple videos. I've got another one I'm almost done editing now, but we want to start doing long form on YouTube and kind of pulling that audience over there and doing it here rather than like live streaming on TikTok and Instagram. Both have live streams. We might simulcast it maybe in the future, but we'll see there how that goes. But yeah. All right. So yeah, I would say like anytime you're naming a Tycon, I think astrological signs, constellations are just a really great way to go. Yeah, oh yeah, Arizona. You put your Monstera outside. You just have to put it underneath like like an awning or something. Put it there in the shade, like open shade. It'll be fantastic in Arizona. A little bit dry, but other than that, will okay. Yeah, if you're having trouble registering, please shoot me a message on either my Instagram account or the plant and the pour, as in pouring a drink, at gmail.com. Either one of those, I'll help you get fixed. When I created this as a Google Forms, I literally thought maybe like under 100 people would sign up. I wasn't planning on there being well over 1,000. So I'm going to migrate that into like its own platform. So that's kind of why I delayed signups for another month, because I need to get this to a system that works a little bit better. So that's why. So yeah, we're not going to be moving over to TikTok. I don't I don't have the mental TikTok is not great for me. A lot of what does well on TikTok is like the 7-second cutesy videos, and that's not me. I'm more like, let's talk educational stuff. The whole reason I started with short form was actually to stop my rambling, because I have a tendency to ramble when I talk. And so I wanted to kind of get a little bit more economical with my teaching before I started getting onto 5-hour YouTube videos. So that's kind of why that is. Live streams themselves, we will probably, I'm going to say between 1 and 2 hours probably is how long we're going to do the live streams for. It depends on how much it goes to. The question about uh, confirmation emails, that broke almost immediately. So as long as you got in, um, then as long as you submitted your thing and it didn't air out on you, I did get it. I've not had anybody that's checked in on me actually not get their emails sent out there. The uh, the question, where was the other one? There was getting signed up. So you can get signed up on, if you go to theplantandthepour.com. Uh, there is a banner at the top that says Massive Monstera. I will also put a link in my story, probably tomorrow or later today. That is like a link to the signups. But if you go to theplantandthepour.com, Massive Monstera, there's a big sign up banner at the bottom. Or if you know where like our links in our bio are, and anywhere, it's like the second link in our bio. So either one will work. Does my content include growing food? I do not grow food. If we ever get grown, if we ever get, no, I didn't choose vertical for a reason. Julie, I don't know how to switch it. If you, if I knew how to switch it, I would. I'm so sorry. But I didn't want to be figuring that out on the live stream. Um, yeah, I'm sure that it would be really really fun to do 4 or 5 hour live streams. I don't know. We'll see what it is. Somebody said that next year when we do this, I should have a live feed on the plant at all times, and I think that would be really fun if I could get the whole video and like a time lapse it. You know what I mean? Like just keep the whole time lapse. I think it'd be really really cool. But all right, cool. Yeah, I really really wish like I knew how to get it to horizontal. If you know how to switch it in the midst of this, I'm happy to do it, or somebody can Google. But every time I tried to rotate my phone the other way, it just said don't do that. So South Africa, awesome. Jeez, look at that go. Um, on phone. We'll Google real quick. I literally found this out like right when I was joining it, but um, before you go live. Oh, but if I close it, will it break the live? I'm worried that if I close it, it'll start. Yeah, I'll figure out for next time. I'm sorry. We'll get it fixed out for next time, but we'll stay vertical for now. But okay, let's get rolling on this. I got to take another sip of Monster because that's not sponsored. I'm ADD, and for some reason that feels good to me. I don't know how to describe it. Youngstown, Ohio, awesome. Yeah. Okay. So Taylor, we're going to talk about that. I think a lot of people are finding this out because I had a lot of people message me when they got their grow lights, and they were like, I didn't realize that like a grow light would be this bright. So we'll talk about that because that's a really important point, and we will dive into that. So in the meantime, let's pull up chat and notes, and we can get in there. White Monster is best. That's what this is actually right here. So we're said, yes, I am fellow Oregonian. I live in a small town called St. Helens, Oregon. So if you are familiar with the movie Twilight, I live like 4 blocks away from Bella's house. So like I can go walk over to Bella's house if I want to. I've never actually seen the movies beyond I think the first one I watched with someone at some point, but so that's roughly where I live. Um, all right. So, all right. Lots of questions to light. I'm really glad you guys are asking the questions about light. So thankful. Let's talk about this. Let's kind of get things rolling. We got people in here, so let's get moving. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So I'm gonna move this. This is one of the ones we're gonna talk about today, but it's in the way of chat, and I can't see you guys. So what we're going to do basically is a 1 year challenge. So I say the word challenge. I use the word book club. I could have gone with Monstera challenge, but I prefer the word book club or the title book club because the idea is more that we're talking and learning together. We have prizes, and I know, yes, I am going to give away a devil monster at the end of it, but in a year, it sounds really exciting now. Devils are still expensive, but in a year, those things are going to be pretty affordable. So um, I'll probably give the person who wins the option of if they want a cutting from my devil or if they want like a fresh, we'll get like a tissue culture and I'll acclimate it for you or something like that. So you'll have a choice at the end. It does not send a confirmation email. That candle does look really close. It's not as close as it looks though. There's actually like a full hand's breadth here that it's actually away from it, but I do appreciate that. We'll move it just in case. um, in terms of pricing, so we'll kind of get in there. I'll kind of go down the list here of things to talk. So the challenge is not who gets the biggest plant by the end. We're all starting at different sizes. Even I have small plants like this that we're going to be doing. I have some that are a little bit more established. We're not doing it by who has the biggest plant at the end. What we're going to do essentially is at the very end, I've got some creator friends that are going to come in and help me vote essentially. So I will probably pick like a top 10 or 20, and those people will be the ones that I'll probably just ensure will get a Bulbasaur Monstera. Those can be, I might have some extra prizes along the way too, of like, you get like a really weird goofy leaf or something. We have some memorable moment. I might mail you a Bulbasaur, who knows? But basically at the end of this, I will pick a handful of people that I really liked. Those people will for sure get something from me. And then of those, I am going to reach out to some of my creator friends, maybe Jake the Plant Guy, maybe Sydney Plant Guy if he'll talk to me. But some of the other creators, I've got some of them that I can talk to that we have our own little kind of community chat that we talk in. And we'll basically kind of let them decide who actually wins, and it'll kind of be up on them. So that way, it's not me being biased or anything like that. I figured that was the kind of fair way to do it, and do that. So it'll be fun, and because we've got some people that are starting with like tissue cultures, right? Like having somebody do a tissue culture trying to compete against somebody who's got an established plant like this going, it's not really fair. But what I would encourage you guys to think about it is, don't Yes, there's prizes and stuff like that, but the the real prize are the friends we made along the way. The real what I hope for you guys is just to basically, my goal is to make whoever you are living with annoyed at your plants. If we get that, I would consider that a success. Like if your plant gets so large that the people you live with go, bro, sis, why is this in the house? We've succeeded. Whether you get a prize or not, that's the goal. We want you to have a massive monstera in your home. I will not rest until everybody has one that wants one. So that is the goal. So my husband's already mad. Well, yeah, my wife. I don't. Are you mobile? I don't know if you guys are mobile. I'm gonna try this. I've not tried this. I'm gonna try to unplug you guys from power. I'm gonna take you guys on a little venture here because some people always wonder how big this is, but this is our uh, our first Tycon. So those of you guys that aren't aware of this plant, this thing is like 2 years, 10 months old. So sometimes people are thinking this is about 5 years old. I've already chopped this thing in half twice. They get pretty stinking large, especially Tycons. They are large forms. I don't know why people say that they are slow growers. I disagree with that. They're a large form Monstera, and there is no such thing as a slow growing Monstera, it seems, except for Burl Marx Flames, actually. Those things are slow, but that's a whole nother story. All right, we'll get this back in place. Yeah, so Andromeda, yeah, exactly. That is our Andromeda. Love her to death. She is she is fantastic. All right, waiting to just go around. Um, yeah, the Burl Marks, man, that thing is a underachiever. Yeah, we'll talk about prizes. There are some people that are like overseas and other places. I'm gonna try to do something for y'all, and we'll kind of go and figure that out. Yeah, there, Toya, there's not an email confirmation. It basically broke, um, like almost immediately. So we're gonna work better on that one. So, all right. Yeah, my Burrow Marks is upstairs. I'll bring it downstairs. They take a lot of light, so that's the big thing that you really need to work on with those. Um, all right. Let's get into this. So you guys have ADD'd me like 5 times, and I've ADD'd myself at least 20. So we should get going. Um, no, you don't have to sign up again. If you've already signed up, I've got you. And what I'm going to do basically is I will manually send a confirmation email and just blind carbon copy everybody so that you guys don't like get your emails exposed or anything. And we'll do that. So. All right, so 1 year we've got some prizes and giveaways. Speaking of giveaways, I put out some feelers. We are going to have some pretty cool giveaways. I've had multiple companies reach out that want to sponsor giveaways. So we don't have any today, but next live stream and kind of everyone after that, we should have. I've had people reach out that are like they're potters and they make like custom clay pots and stuff and they glaze them themselves and they want to give some of those away. I've had people that want to do grow lights. There's some companies that do like tissue culture plants that have wanted to do some things, as well as some like plant importers and things. So we've got lots of giveaways that are going to be coming out. I don't, in terms of who's going to be eligible for each of those, that will depend on the company. So there are going to be some companies that have global shipping, so they'll be able to do that. I will probably, I'll have to do some research and see how much it would cost. I don't know up front because shipping stuff overseas is it I've never done it before, so I gotta see what that looks like. But if I can sponsor some, then I will absolutely do that as well. So, all right. So, yes, we will. I promise you, we will do this horizontal. I am so sorry that it's vertical. I don't know what I did wrong, and it won't let me fix it without killing the live stream. And I don't want to send you guys all. Um, so, I will promise you, next time I will do horizontal. I did not mean to do vertical. All right. So, let's get diving into this. So, in terms of this, everything is absolutely free to participate. It's very important to me that I did not charge any money for this. I am not somebody who wants to. I've always been bad about charging for things. I don't like to like be paid for my time. I guess I like to just kind of volunteer and do stuff like that. I have a full time tech job. It pays my bills. It pays my family. I can eat. I don't really take a lot of sponsorship deals. I always, if I take a sponsor deal, it's always because uh, it's something that I was already using or something that I know is absolutely a great product and I would recommend it to you. So there's no funny business. There's no rug pull, like pay for information or anything like that. Everything free to enter, free to participate. If you need help, shoot me a message. I will help you out as best I can. But there's no weirdness going there. Yes, I do recommend that you buy a grow light. I did put that in there. Ooh, almost knocked that one over. I did put that in there because if you don't have a grow light, depending on where you live, it will be impossible to keep up or very, very difficult. And we'll kind of get into that in just a moment here. So let's talk. Oh, kitty. Hey, Luna, kitty, kitty. All right, we'll let the cat see. I'm ADDing. What's up? This is Luna. Oh, she's mad. This is Luna. She's not happy. She looks like she would love you. She would hate you. She loves me and my wife and hates everybody else on the planet. So, um, but she's a sweetie. I found her on the highway. I know. I didn't pet you this morning, and you're mad about it. I found her on the highway. I was coming home one day, and a little 6-week-old kitten was just on the highway. Um, so I pulled my car over, blocked the entire highway, and grabbed her, threw her in the car. Nobody couldn't find the owners. She was probably just a stray or somebody's pet that had laid a litter under their house or something. But took her home, and she has vibed with us ever since. But yeah, cat distribution system exactly. Cat. All right, girl. You goober. Oh, and now your tail moved. Now I can't find chat. Where'd chat go? Oh, what have you done? Oh, my dear, my dear. There she is. Does she bother the plants? Oh my gosh. Okay, whatever. Does she bother the plants? Yeah, she does bother the plants. I have to keep some plants out of her range. And Yeah, we just have to keep her out of range of some of the plants. She doesn't bother Monstera. Like she doesn't really chew up the Monstera. She will eat any alocasia, which is really bad for her. So we keep the alocasias up higher for her. And anyways, all right. So let's talk a little bit about kind of the plants that I'm doing, so that you guys know what's going up with my plants, and then we'll talk kind of what our main topic for today is, and we'll kind of go from there. So, my wife said I should have a candle for vibes. So we have kind of 3 different of them going in here that we're going to be doing, or 4 plants here. So I have a Bulbasaur, which those of you guys have been watching, this was the tissue culture Bulbasaur that I got from Moose Roots back in October, I want to say October, November. And we're already here. So this one is already in hydroponics. It's already in LECA. It's on a moss pole. It's going to grow out of that moss pole very quickly because it's just sizing up really, really quick. And then I have I got this at PlantCon. It was labeled as a Monstera lemon. I don't know if that means it's a lemon pom-pom or just some form of Aurea. I mean, it is a form of Aurea, but anyways, I'm not sure what it is, but it's definitely a small form Monstera of some kind. We're going to do a chore on this one today, I believe. And then, you know what? A candle might have been a bad choice for flammable plants. And then we have 2 of these. So these are both some Monstera mints. This one's White Monster. This one was just labeled as Monstera mint. Monstera White Monster, as I understand it, is just a form of mint that was found by Kunzo. But this is just a Costa Farms one that I picked up locally and was able to get. Hi from Texas. Lovely to see you. So we've got 2 of these. So kind of talking about why I picked 2 of these exact same plants. I was actually reached out to by somebody, and I wanted to. Something that's important to me is I want to learn with you guys, right? So me just building something and doing that, um, I want to make sure that I'm learning too. So my goal for this year, or one of the things that I want to do, one is just grow more different types, but we're also going to be doing some on poles and off poles. But the big thing is if you've ever watched, I have a pretty gnarly um, what do you call it? Nutrient solution. And I tell people all the time that while I use this, you do not need to go this crazy with your nutrient solution. I do it because I own all of the random ingredients that have been in there. And what happened was that the people that or the growth technology, growth technology reached out. They do. If you follow Sydney Plant Guy, he uses their fertilizer. And so I thought it would be really, really fun to do a shootout. So we have two mint monsteras that are, basically pretty identically variegated. And I'm going to grow one with my nutrient solution and the other with this foliage focus kind of mix with, looks like we got silica and root zone. So I'm going to make a much more simple, more affordable mix and try that on one of them, and then use my mix on the other and just see. The goal isn't to see like which one is better or worse. The goal is to see, are there any major differences? Do they both, take care of the needs of the plant, that kind of thing. So they were really cool about it. Just sent it over there. Full disclosure, they just provided it and shipped it over there. And what I really appreciate about them, other time that I've had a fertilizer company reach out to me, they want me to make a video about the fertilizer within 2 weeks of receiving the fertilizer. You can't do that, and so you'll notice that I've never done a like an actual sponsored video on fertilizer because you can't evaluate a fertilizer in 2 weeks. So they just said, we're going to mail this to you. Please don't, you don't have to post anything. Don't do anything with it. Just try it and let us know what you think about it. And bravo, more companies need to be like that. So I'm giving them a bit of a shout out because they handled it right in there. I see a little gift thing. I don't know who did that, but thank you. I don't know what that means. So sorry. I've never done this before, so forgive me, y'all. I don't know what jewels are. Stay hydrated. Do you want me to stay hydrated with Monster? Is that how that works? Or do actual water? But those of you guys are asking questions. I saw a couple people asking questions about fungus gnats. Fungus gnats, the biggest thing to deal with them is you have to keep the top 2 inches of your soil dry. So you can do that a couple ways. One, slow down your watering. Usually when people have fungus gnats, it's a sign that they are overwaterers. And the way to get rid of them is to start bottom watering. So take your plant out of its pot, fill up your bathtub or something with water, set your plants in there for about 30 minutes, just kind of in that pool of water, and then take them out, and that should be enough. It'll encourage the roots to grow down, and then the top of your soil will stay more dry. If the top of the soil is dry, the fungus gnats can't lay their eggs as effectively, and the grubs that they kind of create, the larvae, don't thrive. Once you do that, then you can also move on to attacking the other forms of their life cycle. Sticky traps deal with the adults, and then BTI drops. Do not ask me what BTI stands for. It's like balacilical something thermal. I don't know what it is. It's a crazy word. But BTI drops mixed in with the water that you water your plants with will help take care of um, the larva. So if you attack all the life cycles at the same time, the population collapses in a couple weeks and you're done. So very, very easy. Yeah, the larvae are super gross. But all right, let's go. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go in and talk about kind of the topic for today, which is thank you. Now say it. Bacillus thurn. I give up. Nope, that's for somebody else to figure out. Uh, you guys know this. Yeah, stale water. Yeah, watch out for that. All right. So the oh wait, no, stale water. That's something different. Still water. Anyways, fungus, mold, and soil airflow. Anything with fungus and mold, airflow. And mosquito bits have BTI. That's what's going on with there, by the way. Thuringiensis. Gensis? Yeah. All right, cool. So what we're going to do today is we'll talk lighting, because I'm telling you right now, if you learn nothing else, lighting is where we've got to start. The reason that most people's plants are not growing is because they're just not giving their plants enough light. We have I'll say a problem in the plant community that we hear the words low light plant, which, by the way, Monstera are advertised as a low light plant. If you've ever been to Florida or the tropics, you know that's not the case. They are low light tolerant, meaning they won't just immediately collapse if you put them into a dark corner, but they will start to revert, get smaller, and get much more ugly and stretch out if you don't give them enough light. So for me, nothing else matters. Nothing else that I can teach you will be effective until you commit to giving your plant good light. I could teach you how to do hydroponics, and we could have a great session on hydroponics. We will do that next session, by the way. I could teach you that, but until everybody's committed to lighting, I don't want to teach you that. There's a reason that I'm not. I will actually convert one of these to hydroponics today, probably if we have time. But the reason that we're not starting with hydroponics, we're not talking about fertilizer yet, really. We're starting with light, is because if you don't have enough light, your plant just won't be able to survive a hydroponic transition, for example. You're going to put it into hydroponics. It's not going to have enough energy to start developing roots and grow vigorously. And what you want when you're converting a plant to hydroponics is full on light. Like it needs that energy. It needs as much as it could possibly take so that it has the energy to recover from that. When you're doing a repot, great time to increase the light because the plant uses that energy to then grow. By the way, you don't have to do hydroponic for this challenge thing. I'm teaching people how to do it, but if you want to stay in dirt, go for it. I will not be because I don't have the patience for dirt. Um, so um, what we're gonna do is we'll kind of next session will probably be in a couple weeks. We'll probably do 1st of June. What we'll do then is kind of talk about lighting and kind of give you guys some numbers. I have a really cool tool that was actually mailed to me a while ago by the people over at Mars Hydro, and I've not featured this yet because I just haven't had time to it. But this is an actual PPFD meter. So one of the things that you will see people do, a lot of kind of the influencery thing, is they'll pull out a light meter and they'll start measuring light with it and foot candles. And foot candles works for the sun. It does not work with grow lights, not consistent for my spectrums that your foot candle meter is using is tuned to the sun. It's tuned to daylight balance generally. And so when you take it in and use it on a grow light, it's not accurate. So we're going to use an actual PPFD meter. The benefit and the reason that I told you all to use the same lights, or at least I gave you 3 different options, is because I can give you readings on this, 200 and something dollar meter, and you don't have to try to go out and buy one of these. So we're all using the same lights, so it will work really, really well. There is an app for that. There's 2 of them. One of them is free, one of them is paid for. I'm going to do a video shooting them out. I've not done it yet, so I can't speak to it, but there's apparently like PPFD free or something, and it works within like 2% of this. So that's close enough for me. So um, we'll do this a little bit and kind of go through this and kind of show you what some of my reading is. The lights that I recommend are the 3 that I have used to grow mine. Supposedly they do Hoopful. I've never actually tried the apps to know for sure. I think Photon is the paid one, and you have to pay for the extra stuff. I think the free one that's actually tuned properly is PPFD free, I believe. Okay. So in terms of the lights, I recommended 3 different lights. The light that I grew that Andromeda on, so I showed you Andromeda, you've seen it on the channel before. That plant was grown entirely with the Sanzi grow bulb, 36 watt PPFD, or excuse me, 36 watt. I forget how many PPFD it is. We'll put it up and measure it. But this is their 36 watt one. This is like a staple in the community. This is one that I recommend. I think they're usually about $30. They go on sale sometimes for 27, 25. There's a bee trying to get in my house. Hang on, let me close this back door. There we go. They're like 36 watts. They're, like I said, $27. This is a fantastic little great one that does great. I eventually moved to 2 of these. So as the plant matures, I've started, start putting 2, one on each side of it. And you'll notice in Andromeda, she has 2 lights over top of her. So once you get a little bit bigger, this is a fantastic light. Highly recommend them. I own 7 or so of them. So they're great. I've never had one burn out on me. They seem to work just fine. So I don't, no real complaints. You can put these into a couple things. I like putting them into these lights. Shout out Sydney Plant Guy. He is the one that gave me the idea to go look for these. If you're trying to figure out what this lamp is a Hector, Hekktar from IKEA. If you're joining late, this was my cat that made this mess. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. Anyway, so you guys can't see it. I moved the thing around. There's the lamp. Now you can see it. Those lamps are so great. So what we'll do is we'll kind of say This light is a fantastic option. The other lights that I have, you guys have seen. This is the T1S. I used this for the back half of last year's grow because I wanted to have my plants face me. So I've started to put some plants here, and now the leaves are all, instead of kind of growing all around, they're kind of pulling to one side. And that's one of the cool things you can do with these, is that you can put these next to your plant and then the leaves will face all towards one direction. That's one of the reasons I like these, because if you got a nice variegated monstera, it will kind of splay its leaves out and kind of lay them flat so that you can see them. So I really like those a lot. And then the last one that I use is the TR40 by Barina. So there's the hanging version, there's the C version, which is the track light. But the reason that I wanted to kind of talk about those lights and kind of get you to understand and see about these today is, let's talk about the power of them, because they all have different powers and kind of really T10. T10s work, they're about 30% weaker than this, and this is already technically one of the it's not, it's kind of weaker. It's the because it's a longer light, it spreads the power over a greater distance. So this is better as the plant matures than a bulb in one place. So you can, yes, it's just going to be a little bit weaker. Um, I do not grow my plants in grow tents. You definitely could. Yeah, if you're somebody that's got like an actual like cool like expensive grow light, go for it. Like Vipper Spectra, I think is a nicer brand. I just wanted something that was nice and affordable for people to do. Okay, so let's talk power, just so you guys can see the difference between these ones. So we're gonna nerd out a little bit about lights today and kind of talk about this. So if we were to take this little light meter here, and again, this represents the power that you are getting from basically as the plant can actually get it. So a foot candle is measuring essentially the light's power, right? As it relates to the color temperature of the sun, basically. There's a little more nuance than that, but just understand that foot candles is represented by the sun or candle light, basically. Yes, you can use any grow light to participate. Please make sure you tell me which one you're using, because I'm actually going to aggregate the data when we're all done, and like we'll see who did best on what grow lights. Um, yeah, they're all, if you have preferences, if you want to support us on the, actually, you guys want to know, you're ADDing this, sorry, there's a lot of people in chat. If you want to know like a cheat code to supporting your favorite creators, you don't have to buy the links in their affiliate store. So I'm going to let you know on a little secret here. When somebody clicks a link in my Amazon affiliate store, it doesn't matter what you buy. So if you go buy a grow light, great. I do get sometimes a little bit more commission for certain products, but if you click on that link, go to Amazon, and then go immediately buy a computer, I get credit for your computer. So if you want to support your favorite creator, just anytime you're going to purchase on Amazon, just go click their link and then go order whatever the heck you want to. You don't have to order the product that they have listed in their thing. So fun fact. It's a good way to take a few percent out of Bezos's pocket. So let's talk about power here. So we've got TR40s, we've got our Sansi 36-watt grow bulb, and we have our T1S. The reason I want to do this is so that you all understand what kind of power you're dealing with, because if you put these things a little bit too close, you can nuke your plants. Yeah, if you got Arizona sun, knock yourself out. Yeah, have fun. We're jealous of, well, actually, we're not jealous of you. I'm going to be honest with you. All of us are very happy that we don't have the Arizona sun cooking us to death. Book club will last a year. Okay, so I wanted to show you this so that you understood. So this PPFD meter, if I were to take this and go look at my little outdoor light here, and I were to stick this up into the window, at present, pressed against the window, I am getting 50, well, if I'm in the windowsill, I'm getting 50 PPFD. And if I am here with the window actually open, my plant right now is receiving 48, 50 PPFD. So we're probably closer to 60, 65 here, and about 50 PPFD on the actual leaves, 45, something like that. Okay. understand in Oregon, and this window is west facing, right? And we're kind of late midday or middle of the day. So I'm not getting a ton of stuff. Yes, if you're Florida, go for it. Um, so we're getting 50 ppfd here in Oregon on my window on this west facing window. Not ideal. I don't have a south facing window because I, I don't know why. They just didn't build one. So if I stick this in front of what is objectively one of the weaker grow lights, and I enter the right mode, oops, what did I do wrong? Turn it off. There we go. Turn it back on. So the absolute weakest of the lights, like this is, I say this is the weakest, it's the most divided, right? It's got the widest spread, but it's the weakest concentration. This one, it at like 8 inches is sitting about 250 ppfd, right? So in comparison to my window, we are, you know what, 5 times, 4 times, 5 times as high. If I come over here to my TR40, those of you guys that bought the hanging pendant lights, and we are at probably about 1.5 feet, 2 feet here, this is about 600 to 700 ppfd, right? So the difference of light that you're getting is substantial. Grow lights are so important if you grow indoors and you don't have great window light. Those of you guys that are in the tropics, those of you guys that have access to that consistent sun year round, you're going to be doing this challenge just fine, and you can probably stick your plant outside. You know, what do you need me for? You probably are going to be just fine. Trinity Tropical, actually, he's out in Florida. He does like Monstera outside. He's awesome. Oh, bulb. I didn't show you the bulb. I'm so sorry. The bulb, if we're doing that same, you know, 6 inches to a foot out, the bulb is getting about, this is a bit misleading because the bulb is in here a bit. So if we're going to go for about a foot out, this one is sitting at about 250 to 3. Oh, wait, no, my hand's on the way. Sorry. No, this one's sitting at 434. Sorry. To block it with my hand, it doesn't work. Yeah, so the Sansi light is going to be, what I'm getting is about 450-ish, there at about a foot. So if you want to get a new light, you can absolutely redo your sign up. Just use, I think if you can still use the same email. If it doesn't work, just shoot me an email and we'll get there. Okay. So those of you guys that are talking about shop lights, yes, they're less efficient per watt. They absolutely work. So anybody that says like, oh, you can't use shop lights, they work just fine. The only difference is basically like shop lights are tuned usually to like what works really well for you to chill out with, but they're not tuned to the frequencies that plants can use. And it's not that they don't have those frequencies, it's that they don't allocate the wattage to those frequencies. So you're wasting wattage on a place that your plant can't see. And a great example of this is, if you've ever seen footage of somebody with like a LiDAR sensor and it like flashes their face, but you can't see it in the dark. It's kind of the same idea. Your plant sees certain wavelengths that you either don't see or can't see as efficiently. And your grow lights will typically be more tuned towards those frequencies. And so the wattage that you are paying for will go towards those frequencies. So it's not that they don't work, it's just that you're not getting your money's worth from your power bill. Fine for someone like me, I live very close to a dam, so my power, like I'm half the national average in terms of power. But if you're somewhere with expensive power, you should probably invest in a grow light. You'll save money easily within a year. Yeah, they're more energy efficient per watt for your light. Okay, so in terms of optimal ppfd meter, I grew all of my plants without having one of these. I brought this here to prove a point and kind of show you what the power levels were. I did not have access to a tool like this when I grew. Your goal, if you are trying to grow a plant as quickly as possible, is going to be to get it as close to your plant as possible, because as you get this thing closer, the power goes up. As close as possible without the plant burning. Okay, so I can come up here and, you know, we say you're put here, you're at about 2 feet away from the light, right? You're going to have a reading of, I don't have a third hand, I apologize. Okay, so we're sitting here at what, 100 and 200 so, right? I'm a little bit further away than I was before. We're at 200 right here. If I want to increase the speed with which my plant grows, I can bring it closer. So if I close the distance here, now I'm sitting at 400, 360, somewhere around there, right? So the distance, like if you have an underpowered grow light, getting it nice and close will give you more power. So if you're running one of those shop lights, maybe that's a little bit less efficient, bring your plant in nice and close. As long as your plant isn't burning, on a Monstera especially, you're not going to be running into problems. And I pretty much guarantee you your LED lights that you're putting here, I've only managed to burn my plant one time, and that was actually Andromeda. And I can show you that. If you're wondering like, ooh, what does burning actually look like? Let me show you. So we're going to go on a field trip, everybody. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. So if you are wondering what burning actually looks like, I installed these TR40s above Andromeda here, and we put them over top of them, and we had, oh, I didn't really plan on you guys seeing this. Sorry, it's a little messy. We had these things above it, and it was not used to these things. So these are a single point light, which basically just means that the light is really concentrated in one space. And it actually ended up burning my plant. Okay, so you can see right here, we have kind of some places where some kind of yellowing is happening that's not variegation. And then we actually got an actual burned spot right here. Um, and as far as why those TR40s are so powerful, um, when you look at, I'm going to turn this light off here real quick. Sorry. When you look at this light, do you see how there's a bunch of smaller lights in here, right? It's not one light bulb. I mean, it is one light bulb, but you have all of these different little bulbs right here. Um, question is how many hours per day for the lighting? 14 to 16 hours is my goal. I have done 24 hours before on Andromeda because I wanted to see it grow. But I do recommend 16 hours. Okay, so this one, and those of you guys that are helping out in chat, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. So see how these are all these little diodes, right? All these diodes kind of come together to get a beam of light that comes down. There is a principle in lighting known as what's called the inverse square law. It kind of loosely applies to grow lights. It applies to each bulb individually. It's really weird and complicated, but basically all these little points have beams that come out of them, and then those beams overlap, and it kind of smooths out the hotspot, right? It kind of spreads out the stream of lighting. This, which, ooh, can I shut this off? Nope, that was the wrong light bulb. There we go. Okay. So this TR40 is very hot. Ow. This TR40 has basically a kind of a diode system behind this one chunky little light bulb. And those things basically focus into one point, and then it better follows what is called the inverse square law. And I've talked about this a little bit before, but the inverse square law basically states that every time that you double the distance between a light source and an object, you quarter its power. So if I'm here and then I double the distance, it's receiving a quarter of the power that it was receiving right here. Okay. So just kind of understand that distance on those TR40s really makes a very big difference. And you want to be careful, and not just the TR40s, but all these lights. And the reason I bring this up is because if you half the distance and you like bring the distance in, significantly, then you are going to quadruple the power of the light. That's not exactly, I want to be clear, like depending on the light, it makes a big difference. But the reason I say this is because if you're going to start doing this and you're going to say, okay, cool, Patrick told me to get my plant real close. If I bring it in half the distance, right? I'm sitting here at 3 feet or whatever. Now it's 1.5 feet. I've significantly bumped up the power. it's not a linear thing. It's not exponential either technically, but it's a significant increase as you bring the plant closer. So be really careful as you walk the plant forward. So in terms of what we want to do for your lighting is you're going to want to set your plant. Let's say, I'm assuming most of you guys like went down to Walmart, went down to your local place and probably bought a plant that's been sitting there for a little bit. A lot of those plants came from, somewhere like Walmart. They or not Walmart, excuse me. They probably Costa Farms, right? They probably came from Florida, were grown out in Florida, and then shipped over here. If you get the plant pretty quickly from when it arrived at the store, you can essentially just crank that thing right in front of a big grow light and be just fine. If the plant has been sitting for a while and it's been growing at the store, maybe it's been sitting there for a few months, it's going to be used to like very, very little ambient light. If that's the kind of plant that you think you got, and usually you can tell because like it'll have like really nice big pretty leaves, and then it'll have like one leaf that's a little bit goofy looking and kind of less, it didn't get bigger, it didn't get more fenestrations, then you're going to need to be a little bit more slower bringing that light up. But so what I would say is your goal is take your plant, pick a distance, and commit to it. So I'm going to tell you, start with 2 feet and run it 2 feet away for 16 hours for your first day and just see what happens. See if it starts to show any signs of burning. If you're like, oh, it seems like maybe it's causing some damage, you can either reduce that time down to 14 hours or pull the plant back a little bit. Then let it sit there for a little bit and see. And you're going to hit a point where the plant is not going to show any signs of damage. Everything's good. You're going to get a new leaf. Plant's going to be going great. Then you can move it forward a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. Your goal basically, if you want to get these things big fast, is to give it as much light as possible. Your little grow light has nothing on the sun. These things grow in full sun outside in the tropics, and they absolutely just get nuked by well over 1,000 ppfd of sun, and they do pretty well. So just know that you can do that. Okay, sorry, I got on a huge little thing there, and I didn't pay attention to chat. So yeah, you're those little 40 watts. You get them nice and close, they will get a ton of ppfds in there. And then for this photo something density. I forget what that actually stands for. We back? We back. All right. We're I know how to fix it now if that ever happens again. I don't know, no, but I know how to fix it. All right. We'll get it. We'll get it back. I'm sure we'll give everybody a moment here. All right, everybody still hears me? We're good there? I had the option to go horizontal, but I would have had to start a new live stream and I was worried about it. Okay. All right, cool. I promise you, we will do it next time. It wasn't the cat. I don't know where Luna is. Oh, she's over here. She's chilling on the couch. You guys can't see her. Hey girl. She's very old. I expect that I probably have sad news eventually. She's I think she's like, is the resolution low? I did choose not to go on Wi-Fi. That was a mistake. Let's go see if this fixes that. No, you didn't miss anything, Julie. Well, I mean, just a little bit. Okay. We're gonna get back on Wi-Fi, and I think that'll get us back. We'll give people a second to reconnect. Take all right, sweet. 21. Jeez Louise, Autumn. All right, we're back. Yeah, she's 15, 16. We're not actually sure 100%. She was kidding. I'm gonna say about 16. So she might have another 5 years. I apologize. I did not see your question, but I will scroll up here in just a moment to take a look here. We'll let everybody get kind of reconnected. Okay. All right. It was not the candle. we're not gonna we're not gonna blame that on my wife. Let's see here. Questions, group chat. Okay, so those of you guys are asking about a. Oh, the mic is quiet now. Uh-oh. Mic isn't connected. All right. Well, we'll fix that. Does it work now? Can you guys hear this? All right. Awesome. Okay. All right, everyone. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Never done it. Okay. So thank you guys for sticking around. We're back up to 134. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. All right. My cat is still there. We're good. What were we doing? Lights. Yes, lights. Okay. So before everything broke, we were looking at the PPFD. We were doing some sounds. Yeah, no stress. I work in tech. I have seen so many things go wrong in live environments that it's not a big deal. You guys are asking about a community. Okay, so two things are going to happen. One, today I will activate the YouTube community app. There's like a whole community system. We can do that. I will activate that so that we can actually do that. And then what we're going to do is I also have a Discord. So if you go to our Instagram, and yes, all my lights are running full 100% power. As much power as I can get out of them. I'm nuking my plants. We do have a Discord. So if you go to our Instagram, on the Instagram is a little purple button, and that button says Discord on it. If you tap that, you will get taken over to our Discord. I try to be active in there as much as I can, but we have some really great people that help out. So I'm going to create a separate channel in that Discord for the kind of just a help channel, basically, where people can do that. So if you don't have Insta, yeah, you know what? Actually, yeah, I think I can put the disc in here actually, real quick. Or the let me see this. Let's do this. Let's go. Um, I think I have Discord on this device. We could put that in chat here. No worries. Yeah, and I will put it in my link tree as well. Plant the pour. Let's see if this works. Can I invite? Copy link. Let's dump this in chat. Yeah, I'll have it for both. We'll have that. All right. Copy and paste that Discord. That'll get you guys in there. That is the link to our Discord. Again, maybe one day I'll do Patreon. We don't do to talk to me. You don't have to. You don't have to do Patreon. That's where if we ever do like a Patreon thing, that'll be more for like people that like want to just support our goals as opposed to like paywalling stuff. I don't want to paywall stuff, I guess is what I would say. In terms of warm lights, somebody asked about like warm lights and those things. If you want the more yellow lights, those work. They're just a little bit weaker per watt. So I can completely understand if you don't want the hospital look like I've got going on here. They work just fine. They're just a little bit they're a little bit weaker per watt. So just understand that you're getting a little bit less power. I don't actually the Sanzi lights. I think they're 4,000 Kelvin instead of 5,000 Kelvin, so they're a little bit warmer. Maybe it's 4,500. I forget. But they are technically a little bit warmer. So, anyways, all right. Yeah, we Shelly. One of the things that we did, I didn't want to paywall anything. I don't like I get probably about 40 messages a day. It's probably not that many. It's probably 40 a week of random people who will slide into my DMs who have used AI to parse all of our hundreds of videos and try to like run that through AI to then sell a book to our followers, and it's always the same disgusting message about, have you thought about a better way to monetize your followers? And I hate that. Um, not doing that. I don't blame you for not wanting to do 5,000 Kelvin, Kendra. I support you in this. Tracklight fixture is the Barina TR40C. Um, so yeah, but anyways, yeah. So the way that we support ourselves is through our Amazon affiliate links. Our Plant in the Pour website, I sell some 3D printed stuff there. I also sell some plants there. I don't have any plants available right now, sorry. But we're looking at maybe doing a Patreon or some sort of way where people could like just monetarily kind of like like PBS style, like support us, here's your pledge for the month kind of thing. Not as a paywall, but just as you believe in our mission and want to support us. Um, so I don't know. I have a job that pays my living now. This is a lot of work, but I don't know. I want to do things differently. I don't want to like have a bunch of like sponsor deals and we're educators first, not influencers, if that makes sense. And so the ethics of that really matter to me. So the reason I haven't launched anything is I just haven't done that because I haven't figured out how to do it. So um, in terms of confirmation, I will shoot you a message in a bit. I need to figure out how to get that fixed. I broke my email sender. Um, okay. Somebody asked a question. Second, my question. BH. Who's that question? Where was it? I missed it. I'm so sorry. Um, oh, how do you confirm that you're subscribed? So what I have to do is I need to um, I need to basically take all those Google Forms stuff and I have to put it into a new email submission form. So I'm going to do that later today after the live stream, and then I will actually go ahead and um, basically take those emails and put an actual emailing list. I will not email you anything else. It just literally just stuff about the book club. And I plan on taking anything that I talk about and also putting it in written form, basically on the website too. So I will get everybody a confirmation email just as soon as I figure it out. Because believe it or not, I also have technical issues other places. So um, Lynn, sometime I want to talk to you guys about this. I've actually never spent money on plants. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but I don't pay for my plants. I mean, I do. I sell plants to fund my plants. I always operate in the black. So your plants money does grow on trees. They're just plant shaped. Um, yeah, and Wave, like I said, I'll put this all into like a short like written form for everything, so you guys can do that. Um, do that. Okay, so back to learning because I will ADD and talk with you guys literally for 5 hours, and um, I one day maybe one day we'll do that. We'll just have like a drop in like Saturdays or drop in plant support day, and I'll help people with their plants live all day. I'd have to be full time this though. Okay. So, soil and stuff like that, there's somebody asked about that. We are going to be doing some soil options. I want to be somewhat clear that I don't think that soil matters as much as people think it does. When I first got in my very first Thai constellation, it came in a brownie plug, which I assumed was a death plug, as they call it. Whatever. I don't necessarily believe that. Um, I've got this is a what is this thing? This is a white monster. Came from Costa Farms. They did not properly root this plant. There's like no, very little roots in here, and like what would be some pretty um, like what would you call it here? Hang on a sec. Bum, 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 bum. So your soil here basically it just doesn't really need to be I guess overly thought of like this is what objectively would be pretty bad soil. It's not, yeah, if you're gonna drop weird stuff in chat you will get ripped out, so don't do that. Oh, look at this, I can time you out. Boom. Bye. Bye. Yeah, I will have chat soon. Chat mods. Later. Okay. Um, yeah, my wife is gonna mod next time. I was worried about that, but we'll deal with that. So, all right. That's, by the way, it's one of my favorite things to do is when somebody says something nasty on Facebook, there's a button that says hide, and you hide their comments rather than banning them. And it makes it so that they can comment all they want, but nobody but them and their friends see it. And so they have their own impotent rage where they are just raging to nobody. And it seems like nobody is paying them any attention. It's my favorite button. All platforms should have that. Yeah, only good vibes here. I'm not about that. All right. So um, what we've got here, this is like objectively, everybody says like, oh, you've got to get this plant out of that soil. This is like nursery potting soil. It's super, super dense. This plant has been in here now. I got this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think. I've not touched it. And the only difference is that because this mix is really dense, I'm not watering it as much. So, and actually Lee from Kill This Plant did a really cool video where he showed like this monstera growing in like the most gnarly miracle grow potting soil, and he just didn't water it for a month. So the soil doesn't matter as much as like for the plant's health. It's more about how you are treating the plant. So if you're the kind of person that only likes to water like once a month, you can go with a denser mix and not water as much. Your plant will probably grow a little bit slower because it doesn't have as much oxygen to the roots. But as long as you don't over water while it's in that mix and you let it fully dry out, you can have some pretty gross underwhelming mixes that a creator would tell you is not good. If you want good Monstera advice, by the way, Lee from Kill This Plant, great advice. Legit dude. He's a really great guy. Um, all right. Yeah, lady. I mean, you can just fertilize it more, as what I do. I just fertilize it. Um, yeah, it's believe me, the soil's not optimal, but it works. Um, okay, we are gonna convert that one to semi hydro. So, did we lag out again? Nope, we're good. Okay, I'm still moving. All right. So, what we'll do is we will kind of move into some of the other stuff here. So, talked light. Light is such an important thing. Lee, kill this plant. I think he's Canadian, if I remember correctly. Somebody correct me on that. I can't remember. I feel like he's up in Canada. Um, and and stuff. So, originally there is no size limit. It's just whatever you want it to be. So it's more about the journey. Thank you for tying that in there, Drizzle. Um, the soil doesn't matter nearly as much as people might think it does. There's definitely optimal soil. Don't get me wrong. Like a nice chunky soil. I actually got Sol Soils sent me over some soil recently, and it's really nice. It's expensive, but it's really good soil. I really like it quite a bit. So yeah, just don't don't feel like you need to like rush out and repot immediately. I'm somebody that advocates for repotting as little as possible. Um, you're especially in hydroponics, you don't need to do it that much. So let's kind of move in there. So I want to say kind of here is like how I grow Monstera is the way that I grow Monstera. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's the way that I grow them. Okay. So as we kind of get into some of these other quick topics for today, just understand that this is just the way that I do it, right? If you're having success with how you're doing it, you don't have to change anything. This is just my method for how I grow them. Take what works for you, leave what doesn't. The big thing that I will say is that if you are an overwaterer, you're not going to want to stay in a mix like this kind of dense, kind of Costa Coir, kind of chunky, dense mix kind of thing they got going on, because it will, if you overwater this, you will rot your roots. So um, the roots poking out, nah, you're good. Devin, if you're just poking over it a little bit, you're totally fine. A little bit of that is things. Fertilizer to use, it depends. So if you are in dirt, you're typically going to want to use an organic fertilizer. There's tons of them. Even even the Miracle Grow stuff is fine. Um, for as much as I tease Miracle Grow, I don't actually have anything against them. Um, Some Osmocote actually is really great. Who said that? SPD Shark, good work, man. I appreciate that. Osmocote's fantastic. You just kind of Osmocot. I don't remember. Either way, but yeah, put that in the soil. It's a great slow release fertilizer. Aquarium people, I'm so jealous of you. I want an aquarium so bad, but I don't do too much. Okay. Humidity is 35% humidity. It's garbage. It's so bad. But it doesn't matter. Okay, so you guys want to talk about kind of soil and stuff. So my method of how to do stuff, arbor is good stuff too. My method is hydroponics. So I greatly prefer hydroponic stuff. We are going to do the next live stream is going to be like the full, like top to bottom hydroponic thing. But I have plant chores to do, and I promised you that I would do my plant chores on the stream. So we're gonna do some plant chores today. So we're not gonna do this one. So next time we get on the live stream, we are going to convert this one from dirt into hydroponics. But we're gonna set that one aside for now. This one again is going to be one of our fertilizer shootouts. And then Bulbasaur here is working on the jankiest leaf I've ever seen in my life. I don't know why it freaked out, but we are going to do foliage focus. That's actually really good. I'm literally just starting with GT foliage focus to see how it does in comparison to my mix. Next live stream will probably be right at the very beginning of June, maybe a little sooner actually. I haven't scheduled it yet. Silica necessary? No, silica is not necessary. There's a whole argument. If you want to start a big argument online, talk about whether silica is necessary or even beneficial to a plant. Yes, they will be at least monthly. Essentially, in terms of like timing of the live streams, it really boils down to when I have plant chores. I have some specific check-ins. So what I plan on doing basically is monthly, I plan on having like a big live stream where we kind of do stuff like this. And then I might do some smaller like check-in office hours kind of thing, right? So like I'm not doing any plant chores, but like I'll pop on for an hour and a half in the evening or something and let people just pop in and ask questions, right? Um, so, okay. So the very next live stream, I will like do a full explanation about what's going on here. And kind of talk. Yeah, silica. So I mean, okay, here's the short answer on silica. You'll hear a lot of people argue because there's different pathways that plants need for silica to be transmitted around the plant. Most aeroids don't have those pathways. But there were some studies done that basically said that even though the plant can't directly use those pathways, that like it being carried along could be beneficial. What I would say is that from what I have read, silica is really beneficial in some plants. So a lot of our crops use silica very, very well. Our ornamentals and things like that are much less effective with it. Um, there are some studies that basically said like it could still like as part of the process of using like a foliar spray or just kind of the water moving around the plant that it could still deposit silica, and there were some benefits, but they are small. I don't feel like I wouldn't feel comfortable telling somebody the reason your plant is browning is because you're not having silica. Usually browning is not enough light and humidity related than not putting silica. So I'd rather see you invest in a grow light than doing silica. If that makes sense. Yeah. And by the way, your plant is going to brown. Like you're going to happen. Like you're not going to be. It's not going to be perfect. In fact, I'm too scared to move you guys again. I'll probably break it. I'll post a picture. Like my Tycon back there has browning on the leaves. So a lot of times when we want to like make our plants look pretty online, people just cut off the brown. That's what's happening. So the people like in Indonesia that have like really high humidity grow rooms, good lighting and stuff like that, that's how they're able to keep theirs looking so great. But you can't live in those conditions. That would be so unpleasant to live in. So um, anyways, okay, this is my Monstera Lemon Pom Pom. I need to do some work on it. So I will kind of give you guys a brief rundown of what's happening here. But like I said, we're going to talk semi-hydro in like big detail later. So this Lemon Pom Pom, looking at it to me, I feel like this might be some form of a small form Monstera. I could be wrong on it, but just looking at it, it has a different pattern than I'm used to. Adansonii, yeah, you could do that. Oh, speaking of which, somebody said that we should grow a pothos up on a pole. It's like, you know, I don't know if you know this, but there's a pothos right there. Technically, they're not pothos. They're advertised as golden pothos, but those are they're an epiprimnum. It's a whole other discussion. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to be putting this into hydroponics, and why don't we do a moss pole today too? Why not? And just do some chores together. We'll vibe, we'll talk. If you guys have questions, I will try to monitor chat, and I'll try to walk you guys through what I'm doing. And I'll do that. Algae, yeah, algae inhibits semi-hydro. Apparently, you can put you can put hydrogen peroxide, like a couple drops in there, and it'll rupture the algae cells. I've never done it myself, but apparently that works. But the real thing is just getting rid of light. If you can keep light out of your pot, it will be much better. This Bulbasaur doesn't have any really algae in the bottom of this pot. And that's really, it's little bits of, stuff in there, but it doesn't have any algae in there. And that's really just comes down to there being no light coming through here. Yeah, the real white monster shows up. Bravo. I appreciate that. Tusco, very nice. Sugo, maybe Sugo. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we've got this Monstera. It has kind of outgrown this little pot here. So I'm gonna set this up. Shelby, everyone wants to know what those pots are. Good news, bad news. They are 3D printed. I do not own the original design, and I've modified that one, so I can't even upload my version of it because of the license the original creator has. The good news is that I'm working on making my own file that's inspired by it because it's just a cylinder. I like the cylinder. But yes, I will. I will release a version. I'm working on like a crazy pot design that does. I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want somebody to steal my idea. But my goal is to make the best semi-hydroponic pot that has ever existed. So more to come. But okay. So if you want, Shelby, if you shoot me, if you have a 3D printer, shoot me a link and I will. Yes, that is correct. So lady, yes. All right, let's do it. Do I ever prune roots? On occasion, not usually. All right, so we're gonna pull this thing out. This plant was currently in fluval stratum and perlite, and we are going to kind of get this out of here. Now, obviously, I've got a ton of roots down here at the bottom. So the nice thing about this being in fluval stratum is because this was in fluval, I don't have to be quite so rigorous with my cleaning. We'll put it that way. When you convert a plant from soil to hydroponics, you typically have to be very, very aggressive with your cleaning of the roots. With fluval stratum, you don't have to be quite so much. Sweating is absolutely natural. That is called guttation. Look up Gution, something like that. Get somebody to put it in chat for me. It's guttation, something like that. Your plants will do it typically overnight. Moss, the biggest battle with converting from moss is if you are going from moss, typically the plants, thank you. Typically the moss will, the roots in the moss become like this one unit and they're very hard to get rid of. So I don't grow anything in moss. All right, let's see if we can get this thing out here. Oh. All right. Slap one for Tanner, y'all. Jumping in size, I always aim to keep the pot pretty darn small. But what I'll tell you is if you're joining this challenge and you want your plant to grow nice and big, nice and quick, the thing that I will say is it's a really good idea to limit your repots. So pro tip for you guys that have stuck around this long to hear me ramble on my ADD ramblings here. The least amount of the people who are going to have the most growth are the people that repot the least, probably. Or at least the people that repot in a way that's not disruptive to the plant. So I have to clean this out. But when this grows in leca here in a little bit, this stuff is going to be much, much better off if I don't mess with the roots. So when I do a repot in leca here in a moment here, and it really fills out that leca, I'm not going to ever disturb those roots again. And by the way, if you are in soil, this goes for you too. I do not recommend that you mess with your soil. If you're in like a really, kind of unoptimal soil, you can kind of clear away some of the stuff that removes pretty easily. But I would much rather leave my plant's roots alone as much as I can. Now I'm getting in here a lot because technically this contrasoil, or is this fluval? This fluval has some nutrients and some organic stuff in here, and I want to make sure that I don't put that into my hydroponic environment. My tenet for hydroponics, the rule that I follow is that no organic material should be in my hydroponic system other than my plant. That's the goal. Yes, I can, Julie. I would happily do that. I can make a shopping list. Those of you guys that haven't bookmarked it yet, make sure that you bookmark our website. You guys are about to learn something really weird about me. I have a, I have a, I don't know if you want to call it a sensitivity, I guess, to like dusty, gritty materials. And if I touch them, I start getting like a panic attack. It's kind of weird. Um, very, very strange. Always wondered. I was told my mom, I was like, did you like bury me in the sand when I was a child and um, cause issues with me? I usually wear gloves and I forgot to grab my gloves. All right. So normally I would not do this. I want to be clear. Normally I would not get in here and get this crazy with the roots. But I needed to for this very first time, because I do not want this in my stuff. And part of the reason my channel blew up is because people thought that I put all this down my sink. I don't. I know that first Tycon video looks like I did. It was not much. I did this, got it to this state, and then whatever was got on the sink. Yeah, so there's some sort of ADD, autistic something they say that like sensory issues basically is part of the thing. It's something with that. All right, you guys want to come to my sink? We're gonna do some sink business. We're gonna unplug you guys from power. I think we got enough power to make it. All right, nobody make my home. It's not a Pinterest home. All right, over here. We're gonna do some plant chores. My house is I have a building from the 90s. It's not all right. All right. There's my plant. And we're gonna do some chores. All right. Yeah, those people that are interested in like a whole like semi-hydroponic moss bulb setup that's like 3D printable. I got you. I got you. It's gonna be cool. But more importantly, I'm trying to work on it to make it what's called parametric, which basically is going to allow you to scale it to any size, and it's going to be compatible with moss poles. I'm gonna have adapters for like all the like whether it's Russo, Thickly, Amazon specials, whatever kind of moss pole you want that just basically have like own system in it. And there's a really cool design I have for the pot that I think somebody's gonna copy me almost immediately when I do it, but that's okay. I give all my designs away for free, so it doesn't really matter. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and clean this out here. Did my mic not come with me? On my chest. Oh. Oh. All right, sorry about that. Is that better? Yeah, I think it was I unplugged the mic up here. Hopefully you can hear me now. Better? Okay, cool. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and do a bit of kind of not moss cleaning. We're gonna do a bit of cleaning on this. So my goal is to get this as clean as possible. So I will also say this, I don't typically want to see, I don't want to see any kind of griminess on these roots. So my goal, like this root right here is really nice, nice and clean. It's a pretty fresh root. I want that um, to be two-party illusion. You're going to get some shock. But yeah, I will show you a little bit here. Um, so what my goal is here is, and actually, honestly, light is the solution. Yeah, bucket of hose. So what I typically do, just you guys can actually see this because most people on the internet miss this. I have a couple of little strainers that I take and I will stick into the bottom of the uh, sink so that I don't have trouble. So, but I like every now and again I unintentionally rage bait the internet by doing this in my sink. It's not intentional, I promise you. I just think people just don't see that, or sometimes I don't put it in the film initially. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I'd take you guys outside, but my neighbor's mowing their lawn, and I think that would be a little noisy. In terms of cleaning the roots, I have 3 tools with me: a toothbrush, a soft bristle bottle brush, and another bottle brush. These right here will save your bacon. They are so nice. So your toothbrush, and look, you don't have to be gentle. Your toothbrush is going to take care of the bulk, right? So I'm literally under the water here. I'm not being gentle about this, truly, y'all. I'm going to lose roots in this process. It's okay. The weak must be must be rooted out. Ooh, that works. The weak must be removed. If you're a root that can't take this kind of abuse, then you're probably not going to do well in semi-hydro anyways. So I'm willing to remove them. I would rather get anything that was kind of hanging on by a thread, so to speak, off the plant. Getting it clean to me is more important than anything. However, I will tell y'all, I actually don't do this that often anymore. Actually converting a plant. If you want free plants, I'm about to give you a trick. You guys want free plants? Here's your free advice. You get into hydroponics. You can do this in dirt too, don't get me wrong. Go down to the store, buy yourself a Monstera, some sort of plant you like. You want a Monstera, you want something, buy it and take a top cutting from it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take that top cutting and you're going to root it in water. Get that top cutting rooted in water and then get it converted to semi-hydro. If you do water roots, it converts so easy most of the time. Get it established in there, and by the time you're done with that, the original plant that you took the cutting from will have a new growth point on it. Sell that for basically what you paid for. You got a free plant. That's plant math, baby. um, yeah, that's what you do there. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit mad at you here. Um, it's not going to be happy about this. But I will tell you this: the only time that I've ever had a conversion fail is when I either A, did not give the plant enough light, or B, afterwards, or B, I did not take the time to properly clean the roots of organic material. The organic material can cause rot. You can get bacteria growth. It is no bueno. I would rather take the time now. I'd rather be aggressive now and be done with this. If I have a root that I just cannot get clean, I will just pluck it off. Look, and I know. Some of you see this and you think this is terrifying. I agree with you. First time I did it, it was terrifying. And now I don't even think about it. Now it's just second nature. Lady, I love that you mentioned that. So, um, the lady, the whole like chlorine thing. Good news, bad news. You have to check with your local water place now. So whoever provides your water, a lot of places are starting to switch to something called chloramine. So not chlorine, chloramine, and that does not evaporate. The entire reason they started using it is because it was evaporating in their water storage areas, and they didn't want to have to deal with that. So they started putting chloramine in there, which does not evaporate, and that sucks. So API tap water condensed API tap water conditioner is what I use, and it does really well at removing it. But otherwise, if you don't use that, then 100%. Yeah, lady up my local area, I think, must have started using it because it like nuked all my caltheas overnight. They were not happy with me. Of course, caltheas just want to die anyways. So everybody says that the reason they're called prayer plants is because they put their leaves up at night and look like they're praying. It's actually because you have to pray to keep them alive to whatever higher power you call home. Stress coat works too, by the way. Same things. Yeah, I don't grow any caltheas. I used to, and then I said never again. Yeah, you don't have to. By the way, like you don't have to use like go out and buy water, like buying distilled water or reverse osmosis. You don't have to do that. Like my tap water is generally fine. If you can drink it, it's usually fine for your plants. Just watch out for chloramine. That's really it. Otherwise, what Lady says is completely fine. Um, in America, they have to post their water quality reports every year. So it's public information. Just look up your city and water quality report and whatever year it happens to be, and you will find the information you see. Just look for the word chloramine. Oh, yes, please. Thank you. Kendra, very, very good point. Unless they are carnivorous. If you grow carnivorous plants, you should know this already, but was it distilled water or reverse osmosis only? Um, so thank you. That is a great point. I don't grow carnivorous plants, so I lied. I have one. Those of you guys that followed my PlantCon video, um, you'll know that I brought 2 pings home. They were for my boys. I have 1 ping now, and they want to know whose ping died. uh, uh, yeah. So for the king, light. Start with light. Above all else, I'm converting this thing to semi-hydroponic, but I want to be very clear with y'all. This is more about kind of min-maxing here. Light is going to be like 60 to 70% of why this plant is going to grow nice and quick. The other 2 for this particular plant will be because of being in hydroponic, and in this case of this plant, this one's going on a pole today, so we'll be good there. Okay, so we've lost, I don't know, chunk of roots about here, and now, and this is where I think people go wrong. They do about this, and they feel like they're done at this point, but you're not. So if you look in here, and where the rot typically happens is like right up in here, and I apologize, I can't see you guys, so I can't see what you're seeing. But up in here, there is like some more kind of organic material. I need to get rid of that, and that's where these little bottle brushes come in so handy. This is just a straw brush, excuse me. So if you buy like those reusable metal straws, they come with these, and so I just get that, and then I come in here and I get all the little nooks and crannies. Do you have to be this crazy with it? No, but I am, and I don't have any rot issues typically on conversions. So take what you will. Okay, you ping people. I want pings so bad. So I saw Jake the plant guy had a ping on a dragonstone. I am absolutely flipping obsessed with it. So you will see some carnivorous plants in my future. I guarantee you. I just have to learn it. Does wattage matter for grow lights? You missed a bit. How dare you? Hi, Christina. The pings are easy. Yeah, I want. We caught the convention plague, and I was sick for like. Well, actually, if you go back, you watch my videos, you can hear my voice. It was awful. Those of you guys have been around for a few months. Oh yeah, here we go. So I've got a root here that's just not coming clean. If that's the case, and I've got something that's just not getting clean, I just pluck it off. I'd rather lose that little tiny section of root than have something in there. And this isn't something you need to be like pathological with, by the way, guys. think of it as this way: is like the more dirt that's on here, the more organic material is just increasing the chances. You're just reducing the chance. It's not like it's going to immediately implode if you put it in dirt. It's just, or excuse me, in leca. It's just, I'm trying to reduce the likelihood. I'm not going to get this clean enough. But if you want the easy route, do what I said earlier and just do the free plant way. So as a Desier, this does make the plant a little mad. Don't get me wrong. Like this is stressful. I want to be super clear. This is the one and only time, because this is going into hydroponics. This is the one and only time I will ever mess with this plant's roots. Anytime after this, any repot I do, I will not be touching this plant's roots. I will be in there just to put the plant out of what it's in, put it into the next pot, and move on. There will be no more messing with the roots. So this is it. Meanwhile, you got other people that are in soil that every time they repot, they mangle the roots every single time, and I disagree with that. I don't think that's necessary. Just take your plant out in the soil it's in, put fresh soil around it in a bigger pot. Your plant will figure out how to get into the new pot, or the new dirt, I guarantee it. All right, we're pretty good here. I'm gonna turn on the water a little bit harder. I've tried it, Angeline. It works sometimes. It's better if you're going into pond. I found that pond is more forgiving for me than going into leca without cleaning. But we're pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. All right. But yeah, I've tried being a little bit less cleanly with it, less clinical. It has not gone well for me personally. All right. So at this point, once I've got the bulk cleaned up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and just do a little bit of a check. Just kind of pull anything that comes off nice and loose. I'm not yanking here. It's just if anything's loose, I want to get rid of it now. So I'm pretty happy with that. We're not perfectly clean. Like they're not sparkling white or anything like that, but they're pretty darn clean. There's little specks here and there. I'm less concerned because this was in contra soil. Contra soil is a little bit more forgiving when it comes to this process. You have a choice. You're probably going to lose this bottom leaf because we're going to pot this a little bit low. So you have the choice here of probably pulling off this leaf, which I am going to do because it's just going to rot off anyways. Normally I would let it do its thing, but because I'm going to plant this lower, I want that gone, because if I put that petiole under the ground, it's very likely that it'll rot. And if it rots, then it can actually stem rot, and that's way worse to try to recover from. So taking you guys back to the living room, we're gonna finish this up. Bum, 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 bum. I'll plug you back into power 2, so we got that. As far as pond versus leca, I would just encourage you guys. It's not about what's better or worse. It's about what works for you. I don't believe that in terms of like what's better. All right, stem rot. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll explain stem rot while I walk around the kitchen. I promise you, I'm still working. So stem rot, basically, you have root rot, which is where your roots rot, right? Stem rot is where that rot goes from the roots or from wherever the rot started, and it gets into the stem. And once the rot gets into the stem, that's where it gets really bad. So if you ever get stem rot, you basically have to. It's like you ever watched a zombie show and somebody gets bit and they immediately chop off the arm. It's that, but for plants. You get stem rot here, you're immediately going to be looking. Okay, what's a node up I can go and chop this off. Then you're going to be rerooting the plant from there. But basically, the actual stem rots, and it's horrible. So, okay, we're going to get rid of this messy stuff. Oh, look, there's the cat mess she created earlier. Luna, where'd you go? She's taking a nap. You guys want to see the cat again? We can show you the cat. Do a cat check. Let's do a cat check. Let's see here. Here she is. You want to say hi, Luna? You mad about this? She looks mad. She's not happy. She's like, go away. She wants none of our sass today. Dude, my neighbor just mowed my lawn. I owe him a drink. you should grow cannabis. Okay, here's the thing. I'd probably be. Oop, eh. All right, sorry. I had to fix my mic. I did accidentally. Um, I'd probably be pretty decent at growing cannabis. I actually looked at what the guys were doing when they grew weed. That was part of how I kind of mimicked some of their stuff. Because I'm going to be honest with you, if you know a weed grower, they're really good at what they do usually. They give good light, they give good humidity, they grow things in tents. Like they care about growing that plant because there's money slash enjoyment from it that they want. And I'm going to be honest, you want good plant advice, it's not a bad idea to listen to the pot guys. Even if you don't grow pot, even if you don't like pot, they got good advice. And they use quality ingredients. Absolutely. They really care. They actually get mad at me because I'm using general hydroponic stuff. And I know a lot of people in that community do not like it because of all kinds of reasons. They don't like synthetics and all kinds of stuff, but you're supposed to use synthetics and hydroponics, and that's how I grow. So, and there's some people that are concerned about their ties to Mansoto or whatever. So who knows? That's a whole bottle of worms I'm not getting into. All right. You have a raccoon? Hold up. Wait, what? Ah, man. Jeez, 2:30 a.m. Thanks for hanging out, Drizzle. Appreciate that. All right. Now, we're gonna set this up. Those of you guys that have never done kaiju, love it. Those of you guys that have never done hydroponics, I'm gonna hydrate for real, y'all. All right. I always thought I wanted a raccoon. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do kind of like three different things here. This plant right here, we're gonna put on a moss pole today. We are going to put it into hydroponics all at one time. So first things first, let's do moss pole setup. So moss poles, really, really easy. I use front closing moss poles only. I have switched entirely to front closing. If you've never used a moss pole before, the general idea is that it just basically is a vertical growing space for your plant that gives it an extension of its pot. So your plant is growing in the pot, it's got roots here. Now we have it climbing the pole, it can grow roots into the pole. And it does a wonderful thing to the plant because the plant gets more nutrients from the pole because we are putting actual nutrient solution in it. The plant feels secure. They climb in nature, like it's just everything that they're looking to do, you're providing for them. So we're gonna go ahead and prepare the moss pole. So I typically don't bother putting nutrient solution in the pole at first because it's not going to be rooted in there anyways. But you do want to wet your moss. So I've tried a few mosses. I use this is Best Grow stuff. I don't like picking stuff out of my moss. Some of the cheaper stuff you get on Amazon has a lot of like twigs and stuff in it, and it's just you spend 40 minutes pulling out twigs, and I no thank you. Let's see. Thoughts on using a wood plank? Absolutely, especially if you have a large form Monstera. Large form, you really don't need a moss pole. I like them still because I think the plant looks a little bit tidier on it. But if you're going to go that route and you're going to go with I got too much water in this. Hang on, I'm going to dump out some of this water. If you're going to go for the wood plank route, make sure you go cedar or some other kind of wood that is rot resistant. Not all woods are equal there. So cedar. There's also this new. I've not tried them yet, but there's like they're calling it like elephant. It's like elephant hide or something. It's a coir pole of some kind that they're doing or some kind of material. But anyways, yeah, you do not need to grow on a moss pole. If you got a large form Monstera, so mints are all basically large form that I'm aware of. Tycons, there's some large form greens, obviously, just your normal Deliciosa. If you've got a large form Monstera, and it's really hard for me to tell you if you do or don't unless you have a tie, then I can tell you do, because Tycons are all large form that I'm aware of anyways now. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, cork bark, as long as it doesn't rot, that's the big thing you have to watch out for. Wooden dowel would depend on what it's made of. 3D bases. No, I haven't. Usually that's cool though. Some sort of a base, that makes sense. Sticks outside. It's probably gonna rot on you unless you have cedar trees in your backyard. But I will say, I really want to do one of those. Some people have been growing Adansonii in driftwood, and it's like one of my favorite looks. Like Adansonii with a driftwood plank growing up and like rocks around it. It's so cool. Love it. All right, elephant grass. I think that is right. That sounds right. Okay, so moss pole. No, you don't need to put your plant in it right away. In terms of when it's time, by the way, I look for the point that my plant is starting to spit roots out that are above the soil. So at the point that I've got here, I've got good soil roots, and now I've got some aerial roots that are coming in. That's when I'm like, it's probably time for a pole. You can put them in much later than this. Like this plant could be much larger. I put them in early because I want to repot as little as possible, and so I'd rather just put the pole on when I'm doing the first repot. So about here's when I do it. Um, so today, no plant chore. This is a plant chore. This is two plant chores. But we are going to be doing plant chores every time. Burn the end of an aspen tree. I can't speak to the aspen tree branch. I have no idea on that one. That's fascinating. And part of the reason I have so many plants, by the way, is that we can do different chores every day, each time. So today I'm just doing one just kind of as an example, but we'll have specific chores. So next time we're going to do a full hydroponic conversion together when we do that. But for those of you guys that haven't seen my moss poles, trellis, yeah, hoopful. Trellis, the problem with trellis is that trellises often have holes in the back of them. And for whatever reason, unless the trellis is really firm, I have found that the plants are kind of resistant to like size up on them as much. They can work, but I've not had much luck with them. On like I've had a couple people try it and they just have not had the same results. I'm not at their houses, so I can't say if it's just, oh, they didn't put enough light in it or whatever. But I don't find that trellises work as well as like a plank. There's a company, treeless tree something that makes really pretty. They're expensive, but they're very nice. There's some very pretty poles. So I got to make sure I do this right side up. I always do these things upside down, and then I go to extend them, and I can't do it right. Yep, see, I was going to do it upside down. I knew it. Every time, y'all. Okay, so oh, 100%. Yeah, use me as an excuse to get new plants anytime you want to. It's totally fine. Okay, so yes, tree leaf. They're expensive, but they're very nice looking. I would outsize them too quickly the way I grow. So moss pole, the way we're going to set this up, I'm doing two things because I'm going into hydroponics. I'm going to actually run my pole, and this works on short poles. It does not work on big poles. But I'm going to go ahead and run basically 2 lengths of rope. Those of you guys that have asked in the past, make sure that you are using a synthetic material, polyester, something like that for your wick rope. Do not use cotton. It will rot. So we're going to go do 2 pole lengths so that I have something to extend this to. It works for 2 pole lengths basically. Yeah, the potato peel, that elephant grass potato peel. That's something I want to try. I've not tried it yet. Yeah, Corey, I'm glad you asked. And I missed somebody else's question who asked this earlier. If you have multiple plants in the same pot, good luck. You have the option of separating them if you would like, or keeping them all in one pot. If you want a really bushy monstera, keep them all in one pot, but it's really hard to do something like a moss pole when you do that. So if your goal is like, I really want to learn how to do moss poles, you'll run into some trouble. So you don't have to. If you do separate them, the way that I would recommend doing that, and I'll see if I can find one. Maybe I can find one in the local nursery and separate one on a live for you guys. But you can separate the plant. And if you do that, just make sure that you get a bunch of smaller pot sizes. So what happens when people do that is they will separate their plants into like 7 plants, and then they will put the biggest plant back into that same pot. You still need to downsize all your pots. You need to pick a pot that's like just about the same size as the root ball, and then put the plant in that. Don't reuse that same pot. So you're gonna go down drastically in pot size. That's about it. Yeah, I'd happy. I'll see if I can find one. I'm sure I can find one locally, and I'll do one on the live stream next time. Are the moss poles better? In my opinion, yes. The in terms of growth rate, I have not done a personal shootout to say like, oh, they're better or worse to have one. What I will say is this: I view my moss pole as an insurance policy. The plants that have moss poles in my house, they have these crazy root systems inside of those poles. It's not necessarily about the plant uh, growing better or worse. What the reason is that I have all my moss poles divided into two segments. And when they hit the top of that second segment, I need to be able to chop that plant in half and take that top moss pole and put it back into the bottom. And when I do that, I've got a quite large plant on the top half. It needs to have a good root system. And sometimes those plank systems don't get a really good root system, and they're not root systems that are developed to uptake nutrients. So I prefer to have the pole because they're used to getting damp, they're used to getting wet, they're not just structural. They have secondary roots coming off of the main vines. I'm looking over at a plant that you can't see. But anyways, the idea basically is that so you can separate the plant, cut it in half, and have a really, really nice root system that'll help you go without things. Um, Alocasia. We should do a alocasia live stream sometime. Um, Alocasia corms can take like anywhere from 1 week to like, yeah, don't let you. I've had alocasia corms take it nearly a year. So I find that moss is the slowest way to sprout them. I use fluval stratum and perlite or puddle method for my corms, and that's the way faster than moss for me. But the Leica pole is cord. Philly, I'm going to actually be putting SPD. I'm going to be putting my Billy on a moss pole here very soon. So, do they need it? No, I've seen some without moss poles, but I'm putting mine on a pole. But okay, so the other guys have not seen the moss pole setup that I do. I put a wick rope through the pole, moss on the bottom, moss on the top. Your goal when you do a moss pole, it should be. All right, there's not a great way to put this, so I'm just going to describe it the best way that I know how. You know when it's wintertime and you've been having way too many snacks and you go to put on your pants one day and it's just a little bit hard to button them and you're like, uh-oh. That's how tight your moss pole should be. It should be just a little bit awkward to close and you go, uh-oh. That's your analogy for the day. The TR10 lights are they're strong enough to get started. I would recommend getting something a little bit more powerful long term. The T1S, TR40, Sansi are all great ones. The Leica poles are cool, but I've never tried one. They don't work unless you put a pump in the top of them, from what I've seen. Okay. Yep. Slow drip on the moss pole is fantastic. Actually, Russo. Russo is another brand that actually sent me some stuff, and they. I haven't shown this on camera. You guys want to see something cool? I'll show this to you. They sent me. They sent me one of their moss pole systems, and I haven't figured out how all this works yet. But it has like a dripper attachment, so you can like attach this dripper, and then there's a wick rope in it, and it drips into your plant. It's really, really neat. So they sent this over. I have not tried this yet, but it looks really, really cool. It actually snaps into their moss poles. So they're really cool people. I really liked meeting them. Another brand that just said, can I just send this to you? Like we think it's cool. Will you take it? And I'm like, yeah. I prefer that so much more than a brand saying, please pimp my stuff. Okay. Yeah, half a rain pipe with chicken wire. Yeah, that would work. I just put some pole, you probably won't. A rain pipe like that probably is fine. But yeah, those dripper systems are awesome. So, I'll do a full long form on that one, by the way. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I need to pick my depth. So one of the things that one of my tenets of hydroponics is that there should be no organic material in your pot other than your plant, and that's it. I mean, you could argue that Leica is clay and it's kind of organic, whatever, but I'm talking like no like living or previously living thing should be in my pot except for my plant. That's it, just my plant. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to check my depth, and I don't want any moss to come into contact with, I mean, it can come into contact, but I don't want any moss like in the leca typically. I know a lot of people do those alocasia setups where they like to put the moss sitting on top of leca. I don't like that setup. We'll talk about it some other time, but the general thing that you should remember with that is that moss is organic, moss breaks down, moss leaches acidic things. And if you want really high acidic content in your plant, you do to a point, but eventually it will actually decay so much that the pH of your nutrient solution will jump. It'll be too high, and then your plant will miss out on nutrients like calcium, and some weird stuff starts happening. So those of you guys that watch Sydney Plant Guy, he actually had an issue right about a year when the moss started to break down. I'm pretty confident that that's why he had the issue that he had. I'll do a long form on it. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but Russo is the brand that did the drip pull contraption. Oh, somebody find it for me and put it in chat, please. It's like Rouss. It's French. EAU, maybe Russo Plant Care. Really, really cool guys. I wouldn't shout them out if I didn't think that they were like actually just legit people. Thank you. That's it, Russo. Very, very cool people. Again, anytime a brand starts an interaction with me with, hey, we like what you're doing, can I just send you this and let us know what you think about it? Not make me a video and for free. I'm all about that. Like just let me try your stuff, and then that lets me know if I can recommend it. Because sometimes a product isn't for me, but it might be for one of you guys. But I can tell when a brand has actually researched me and knows what I. They actually sent me some fertilizer or something. They sent me some other solution. I've not had more time to look at it. Yeah. All right. So yes, that is a very small little pot. You are correct. When I'm doing a conversion, I am not looking for a ton of room, right? It'll be hard to see. I apologize. I need an overhead cam I can switch between. Root ball, right? My goal here is to almost not completely fill up this pot. This pot's only about half full with this plant in here, but I'm gonna have a pole behind it. I don't want a lot of space in here because I'm going to probably lose some roots in the transitionary process. So what looks like, um, a pretty crammed pot isn't going to be crammed when some of these roots die back, right? So anytime that you're doing like your first conversion, small pot, you're going to lose roots. It's going to be a problem. So keep it small, keep it tidy. Don't put it into a big pot. This is absolutely going to fill out this pot in 2 months, and I'll probably have to deal with it then. But that's an example, actually. Those of you guys that followed me back when I did the TC Bulbasaur, this is it now. And you can see what the roots look like. I did this exact same. This is literally the same size pot, I think, and same setup, exactly the same. So it's growing just fine now. It's been in here for about three to 4 months. Yeah, the roots are sticking out into the bottom of the pot, but there's nutrients in there and it likes it. All right, so we've got our plant here. We've got our items here. So this is the tricky part. What I typically recommend, oh, I forgot tape for my, all right, we'll just steal it from another plant. Don't judge me, plant, sorry. All right. All right, so we've got a little bit of Velcro. I've had some people say some strange things to me about plant Velcro, by the way. Yeah, the pots, I'm sorry, they're 3D printed. If you have a 3D printer, shoot me a message. I have to send you the file because I can't link you to the official file because it's I've modified their file, and I'm trying to find a way to like upload my version to their thing so that they get credit for it, but I haven't figured out a way to do it because I didn't design that pot. I'm working on my own, but we'll get there. But shoot me a message. I will happily send you a link to it if you have a 3D printer. Okay. So in terms of how deep I'm going here, remember, your plant is going to probably lose a leaf or two in this process. So what I like to do is I like to plant, and this goes for alocasia, this goes for everything, by the way. A lot of people will feel tempted to plant right about here, the depth, right? They'll be like, all right, here's my plant, here's my first leaf. Don't forget, you're probably going to lose this leaf. So what I do is I push them down a little bit further so that I can lose a leaf and still have one leaf that's coming up nice and low. It'll make the bottom of the plant look a little bit more full. So some forethought here. Plant it just a little bit lower so that you actually have something posted up. What kind of 3D printer do I have? I have 5 3D printers, and it's still not enough to keep up with some of our ordering. I have all Bamboo Lab printers. I have 3 P2Ss, 1 X1C carbon, and a H2C. If you were going to just like walk out and go buy one tomorrow, I think a P2S is a fantastic printer. It's like $550 for the cheap version, $800 for the AMS version, but the A1 and A1 Mini will print almost anything just as well. All right. Yeah, so Hoop, that's a great question. So stem rot. So one of the things I'm paying attention to here. So I'm picking my depth here. I've got the pole. I don't have any moss below the top line of my plant here. I wish I need to get this camera a little bit lower here. My tripod's not gonna do it. So no moss in the leca. I have the plant here, and then I'm going to pick a depth. And my goal here basically is I'm going to pin it probably right about here. As far as stem rot, we should not get any of that because I'm not going to bury this petiole. So where you see this petiole going down here into the pot, my leca line is going to be right here. I'm not going to bury this. Some of you have probably seen the video where I repot my my pothos, and it's the same deal. If you don't want to rot your petioles, run your leca line up to the place where the petiole connects. So the petiole is going to come here. This is my oldest leaf. Follow it, follow it, follow it. Here's where it connects. Here's the bottom of it. Your soil line, your leca line should not be any, your soil line should not be above that. This is where it needs to come to. Now, what happens is this leaf will probably get reabsorbed back into the plant and we'll lose this leaf at some point. When that happens, then I can add a little bit more leca to fill in that space. We'll get some more root growth around that area. But if I follow that, then what's going to happen is now I get a nice bushy bottom to my plant, and it's okay. So cool thing. So the wick. So the reason I have the wick going all the way through the bottom here is that if I put this wick all the way into my nutrient reservoir, then I don't have to actually water this moss pole. I don't like watering small moss poles because they dry out so stinking fast. So when I have these small moss poles and I have a plant that's trying to adapt so that my ADD doesn't hurt the plant, I will use a wick. It does not work on large moss poles. This is just while I'm establishing and transitioning the plant, I'm getting water everywhere. This is a temporary solution to Patrick's mental problems. Okay, so Shayna, if you want to put it in there, you can do that. Be super careful. That's what I did with Andromeda. So my big tie in there, I rotted all the roots. I had 0 roots, and I actually took a rubber band, put it in leca, and no roots, literally none. Put a little bit of water in the bottom, and then just held it up with rubber bands, basically, and it worked. You need to have good lighting. You have to have good lighting so the plant can actually root in there. It will work, but you probably want the leca should have like direct contact with the water instead of a wicking setup, because the wicking setup will probably be a little bit too dry. So direct contact with the water. Wicks are super cheap, by the way. Like you can get I think I paid like I paid like $6 or something for 120 yards or something of wick rope. Like you will buy more than you will ever need in your life in one go. All right, I'm going to, my chat over here is going to run out of battery if I don't give it some love. So we're going to steal the live stream cable here for the power there. And now I won't lose chat. And those of you guys that are joining, late, I will go horizontal next time. Patrick didn't realize that you had to do that before you start the live stream. So sorry, it's vertical. Okay. Yeah, fungus gnats, by the way, and poles, that's where BTI drops come in. If you do BTI drops down the pole, the fungus gnat death drops is like a really expensive version of it. But there's a product called, if you just look up BTI on Amazon, It's Microbe Life, I think is the brand that I use, and I just put it into my nutrient solution and I water through my poles, and I don't deal with them anymore. So, all right. Okay, so we got our plant here. I know that what I want to do basically is I want to get this thing to the right height. Like I said, I think we're going to go right about here. Okay, so the petiole is going down into the pot. The leca line is going to be right here, but we're going to go right here for a height. And then I'm going to go ahead and pin it with my Velcro. Does a leca pole work? Yes, if you are crazy and you do what Leca Queen did, where you actually run a pump through the pole. You have to literally pump water to the top of the moss pole, quote unquote moss pole, and then pump water through it because the leca will dry out too fast. So it is possible, but you are having a water feature in your house if you do so. So you better like the sound of dripping water. So Christina, it's not actually about it's not about the thickness of the rope. It's like how the water is defeating gravity. So it's literally fighting against gravity, and there's just only so far that the capillary action or whatever pulls it. So it's more of a physics problem, which is why the Russo pole things have a tank at the top and a moss pole at the top, so it drips through, or a wick rope at the top, so it drips downwards, and that works. So if you want to get fancy with it, you can put like a bucket on top, put a wick rope so that it drips through the wick rope into your pole, and that does work. Oh, a magic gardener. I've never actually heard of that. That's cool. All right, so we got our pole. We got the top wick rope so that I can extend this into a secondary pole. We have our bottom thing. I do not need this much. Those of you guys that have never done this before, and like I said, we will do a full-on hydroponic lesson next time, but we're just doing a plant chore for fun because I've never tried to do this live and I wanted to practice. So what I will say is that when you do this and you're setting up your wick rope, it just needs to be in contact with the water. It just needs to be in contact with the leca. You don't need to like coil the rope up or do anything crazy like that. The capillary action will wet the leca balls, and it will actually pull the water in just fine. You do not need to like do this crazy contraption of rope around there. Just make sure that it touches the water, make sure that it touches the leca. You're good to go. My big old Tycon in here is in an 18-inch self-watering pot with leca, and it still gets the water all the way from the bottom of that reservoir all the way to the top. So on a single wick rope. So don't worry about that. All right. Those of you guys that are on, I know some of you are using TCs. I actually have like 6 Monstera in TC right now, and they will be late additions to my things. We've got a devil monster we're going to grow out together, so it'll be fun. So I'm going to go ahead now at this point. We're going to cut the wick rope down to size. So my reservoir comes down just a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and go for about right here. Caladiums. I've never grown caladiums, Connor. I want to really bad. I know they're probably gonna be the new hot plant of 2026, I think, because people keep pushing them. I've never grown one. Want to. Did I get the devil from Moose? I sure did. I sure did. I love Mason. It's very, very kind. Actually, we'll shout him out. That man shouts me out more than I deserve. Mason over at Moose Roots. He's live streams on Palm Streets. And he's fantastic, dude. Like he gives away more plants than I will ever possibly be able to, and he trolled the crap out of me. I haven't announced this yet. I have a rule that if somebody gives me a plant or gifts me a plant, that I have to give away twice what they gave me. So he owed me some plants and then definitely sent me more than I asked for, like significantly more than I asked for, and like what he actually owed me. So I have to count them as gifts, which means that I have to see what actually survives acclimation and stuff. But I'm pretty sure that the devil monster was a givey or a gift, which means that he's he's made me have to give away 2 devils, which is adorable. I love it. But he knows my rule. So I've got devils. I'm gonna have a platinum albo was another one that he snuck in there for me. So he knows that I have to double up that givey and give it to people. So you guys will benefit from his generosity. But okay. Let's pull this in here. So yeah, he's I forget what it is. I need to make a list because I'm trying to see like what actually survives because I did lose one plant that I'm sad about. But it's okay. I lost a Cupria mint, but it just happened. There's no fault. It just happened. Um, but yeah. Okay. Lady Balefire, it would be really fun to do like a plant Secret Santa if it wasn't for the fact that it was like really horrible time of year to do Secret Santa stuff unless you're on a different coast. All right. So when you do this, my goal here is that I want to do two things. One, I want to fill up this pole with leca. I find that it's much easier to do this at the very beginning. If you try to do it while the pole is in place, it just, for whatever reason, I find it's very difficult. Oh, Christmas in July. There you go. That would be fun. Let's see here. Merry Plantmas. Wick versus submerged. I use the wick method almost exclusively. I don't like submerging. And the reason is that I find that if the plant ever dries out, using the submerged method, the difference between having water in the submersion method versus the amount of water that's present in a wicking setup is so drastically different that the plant freaks out easier. So if you're the kind of person that accidentally lets reservoirs go dry, I would never do the submerge method. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I don't because of that. If I let a reservoir go dry, I get a little bit more of a breathing room, I find, with the wick. All right. Pole is filled up. Now, my goal here is that I want to make sure that I spread out these roots. Roots that are clumped together will typically tend to rot. So we're going to spread these out. And then as I put this down, I'm going to kind of do this like move where I'm trying to keep these things spread out a bit so they don't clump. So we're going to go ahead, get them in here. And my goal is to get this pole. Yeah, I missed. All right, we'll try again. It's okay. We're allowed to make mistakes. Yeah, with TCs, you're going to lose some. It's actually, ironically, it was the very first plants I lost. It was a Cupria mint and a Musa no-no, which I knew the Musa was toast. Like when I picked it up, I was like, this is not going to survive my care. But yeah, the mint, I find that mint plants are really hard to acclimate for me. Hello there. Anthurium? Heck yes. Every single one of my Anthurium is in leca. They flip and love it. All right. Yeah, Moose Roots has a website, but like his plants that he has on his website, like you really want to catch him on his live to really understand the kind of person that Mason is. Catch a live on Palm Street, which by the way, Palm Street, little plug for them, I guess. That's where I buy all my plants. Every single plant I buy is from Palm Street. I like the experience. Be careful if you don't know what you're doing because you can overspend on plants. But watch some lives, win some givvies, and then buy some plants. All right, we're good. The moss pole is nice and flat on the bottom. We have the plant in there. Yes, there's not a lot of extra room in here. That's fine. The plant is going to grow up. That's the goal. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread out the roots. And I apologize, you guys can't see this very well, but my goal is basically to spread out the roots down here in the bottom so that they're kind of, I want to basically fill it in so the plant feels as if the roots haven't been disturbed all that much. And we're going to basically fill in with some leca and kind of keep moving with the roots to kind of fill in all the gaps. We don't want gaps to exist in here so much as we want to give the leca somewhere to go between every root. Melanochrysum. You mean that? Back there? That's a melanochrysum. They're a pain, by the way. If you've never done melanochrysum, we call them melanochrysis for a reason. They're hard until they come out of, I think it's called out a caterpillar. Once the plant actually starts spitting out leaves that really starts to size up, that's when they become easy. Melanochrysum is like the first year to 18 months is a pain. And then after that, they're pretty easy. All right. As far as media, me personally, what I find is Monstera and Anthurium do best in leca, because their leca balls typically are a little bit larger. My philodendron are all in pumice. Those of you guys that have not seen me do pumice before, I do like a 3/8 to half-inch sized pumice for all of my philodendron. And then my alocasia are in 3/8 size pumice. I don't really use lechuza pon anymore. It's too expensive, and it isn't. You don't need it. If you never heard me talk about why that is, pumice, your little pond doesn't give your plant enough to be worth the expense. It has zeolite. It's zeolite, lava rock, and pumice. Pumice is a lava rock. Lava rock is a lava rock. Zeolite has some cool like cationary exchange properties and pH buffering and things, but as long as you're pH balancing your water, you don't need it. You don't need to go out and buy that. If you have it, if you're up in the Pacific Northwest, especially, you can go to like an agricultural supply store, go to get some pumice. I pay $7.80 for a bag, probably about this big of pumice. But if you don't know where that is, I can't tell you where it is in your area. Um, look for agricultural supply stores, but if you have bonsai growers in your area, they're who to ask. They know where it is. Yes, all of my leca is rinsed before. Yeah, exactly, BH. They're all just rocks. It's all just rocks. All the rocks are is just for something for your plant to hold on to. Your nutrients are where it's getting its nutrients from. They can definitely rinse some stuff, or excuse me, not rinse. They can definitely leach some nutrients, but it's that's not where your plant is getting its stuff. Okay, so you can see there. Hopefully, we'll see. I don't. My stream's on a delay, so I can't see if you guys can see this. We'll hope. Um, you can kind of see there it is. I'm tipping it forward. But yeah, that's kind of it. My line, my leca line, is basically right there, and we are good. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the extra leca balls and go find a random plant that they'll fit in because I'm too lazy to put them back into my main reservoir. All right. And then we're going to go ahead at this point and pop this into here. Okay. This extra rope, usually I just coil it up and stick it in the top. Yeah, and those of you guys that are talking about this, I appreciate that. Leca, you do need to rinse it before you use it. I've used it without rinsing. It's been okay, but it is absolutely best practice to get all of the just dust and junk, because as you do things like flushing out your reservoir, you're going to get it down your sink anyways, and it's not great for your pipes. So um, what you're going to do basically is take your leca, rinse it off outside, get like a strainer, like a strainer colander if you're from the South, and strain it outside. Just run a garden hose through it, get all until it runs clean. And then once it's clean, then put it in a bucket outside and just fill that bucket with water so that it's like soaking the leca, and then strain that a second time. That's usually enough. If you want brownie points, go a third time, and you'll be just fine. Clonex after rinsing, yeah, lady, that'd be a great solution. Okay. Sassy chick. Going from soil to leca, do you recommend I transition to water then leca? So the thing that I'd say is, like, if you've never done hydroponics before, I'm a big advocate of doing the water transitionary method that you're talking about here, where you basically take a cutting and then you go ahead and put that cutting into water. You let it get some nice, good water roots. And once those roots are really developed, you want to see secondary roots. So it's not just you want one big root, then you want to see some secondary roots coming off of that. And when you've got like a couple of big roots and those roots also have secondary roots, that's when it's okay to put it into leca. I'm a big fan of that, especially if it's your first time. And the reason is that if you fail, you can try again. You still have your mother plant. As long as you don't kill your mother plant, you have infinite tries at this. So take a couple cuttings, try it. If it doesn't work, okay, take another cutting, try again. I really don't transition. This has actually been the first time that I've like transitioned a plant in quite some time, because I have grown to really prefer taking a cutting, rooting the cutting in water, and then potting that up, because I don't want to risk the mother plant. And also, as I mentioned earlier, you can sell the original mother plant for basically what you paid for it and buy another plant. And I'm all about free plants. So great method. Should I buy a caramel marble? Yeah, caramel marbles will get a little bit cheaper, but not much cheaper. I think at the point now, I've seen some TCs going for like between 20 and $35 in TCs. And I think they're going to be pretty good. Those of you guys that missed the Discord link, I still have it in my copy and paste. I think. Let's go here. I can put the Discord link back in there. I know not everybody uses Discord, so I'm also going to do a YouTube community. So there will be kind of two places of truth here. There we go. There's the Discord link for you. If you guys want to join that. Yeah, 25 for a plug. Like caramel marbles are getting really cheap. They're getting really, really affordable. So I don't know that you're going to need to hold back much longer. I used to do just water and rapid start. These days, I've just been putting in my normal nutrient solution. I don't know that it matters. I think giving them some actual nutrients is not a bad idea. So I've been doing that for my testing. That has been the best for me. Where I'm going to put this rope, by the way, or not this rope, this Velcro, is my goal is to put it down pretty low. I want the plant to be able to move and kind of figure out its life. I don't want to. It's not bondage. I'm just trying to get it from there. Yeah, that's awesome. I got a caramel marble from Moose too. I'm really excited to have that go. Yeah, nutrient solution. We'll talk more in detail on that one next. Um, Cats, I love it. Yeah, we'll talk cats. Um, Nutrient solution we'll talk about in more details. I have two things I'm going to do. I'm going to these two plants. If you guys missed this, I have two mint monsteras that I got. One from PlantCon. This one's from Walmart. And I am going to put both of them into hydroponics. No moss poles, because I want those of you guys that don't want to do the moss pole thing. I want you to see what that's like. They're large forms, so they'll be just fine. And I'm going to do one with my nutrient solution mix and the other with foliage focus that they were kind enough to send out to me, because they just wanted to send it to me. And so I thought, why don't we just kind of do a head to head, not about figuring out which is better, but I don't believe, and this is somebody that really likes my mix, I don't believe that my mix is better enough than an off the shelf version like that to warrant the effort that I put into it for most people. I do it because I enjoy it. And I want to be really clear on that. Like I have a mix that I like, but that's because I like the chemistry of it as opposed to, something simpler. I pop on a podcast and just make it. Actually, my wife has been making it for me lately because she's, bless her, lovely. Yeah, telling the difference between large and small form ironically is easiest when they get bigger, which sucks because you're always trying to figure it out. The benefit is because a lot of Monstera are made by tissue culture these days, that certain types just are. So a Thai constellation is a large form. It just always is. So if you want to figure out what a large form looks like, grow a Thai constellation, and then you'll immediately know when you look at a Monstera, you're like, oh, small form. you know, they typically, as they get bigger, and even plants like this, I think this is a small form. I'm not sure on lemon pom pom. I've not done the research on it. It just feels like a smaller or intermediate form Monstera. Um, because they have really tight internodal spacing. So like the large forms, and they have like the leaf. It's like leaf, no spacing. There's like no vine between the next leaf and it, and it's just leaf, 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 leaf. That spacing between the leaves is like internodal spacing. And it just doesn't exist in large forms. It's very, very tight. They do well crawling. They are still climbing plants. I will die on that hill. People say that large form are crawlers. That's not accurate. They are small. They are climbing plants that crawl well because they have tight internodal spacing. But if you put them next to a tree, they will climb it. Yeah. So my mix, if you want to go in our YouTube, they have I have a it's like pinned, I believe. It's like one of our top videos. People like to argue about it. It's funny because I'm not super passionate about it. But I use General Hydroponics 3-part, so they're Flora, micro, bloom, and grow, 5 milliliters each, and that's like the core of my mix. And then I add to that. So I put in um, silica to start. Then I put in CalMag, then the three mix ingredients, the main ingredients there. And then usually at that point, I'm looking at more like pest control stuff. SNS 209 is one that I use in all my reservoirs because it helps kind of reduce pests. It does not prevent them entirely. It just seems to make them less desirable to pests. And then I had been adding Rapid Start, but after talking with the company, there's some misunderstanding about what Rapid Start is. So I'm no longer adding Rapid Start to my mix. Um, and then, yeah, I know botanists say that they're the same. I Okay, I'm not a botanist, but I can tell you which is which. And I know that seems a little weird. And I don't know that there's really like small or large forms so much as that internodal spacing. Like how are they one that has like a spaced out node system, or they have really tight and compact nodes? And so it might be that they are the same, the botanically speaking, they're both monsteras or whatever, but I think there are some forms that have tighter or looser internodal spacings. And the tighter the internodal spacing, the better they are at climbing and the faster they tend to size their leaves up, just from what I have seen in my own personal growing. I trust botanists. I'm not going to go against botanists, research and opinions. But in my experience, there is definitely some that have different growth patterns, is what I would say. So, anyways, um, yeah, I always tell people I'm not a botanist, but I will always share my experience. Yeah. Oh, Shayna, thank you. I so appreciate you asked that question. Um, Miss Austenbury, I like that explanation. It's the you get tall and short humans. I like that. That's good. What reason would a leaf grow smaller? Shayna, you're asking the $1 million question. If your plant is getting enough light, guys, we're back to lighting, which is the whole point of today. We did a plant chore. How do you know if your plant's getting enough light? Your plant, with every single leaf, other than I'm going to give it one leaf to misbehave. If your plant is growing a new leaf and that leaf is either bigger or more fenestrated, then your plant is probably getting enough light for Monstera. If for any reason your next leaf comes out and it does not have a slit in it, or the leaf itself is smaller than this leaf, that is the sign that your Monstera is not getting enough light. So, Shayna, when you talk about your plant and you're saying, oh, we got a new leaf and it's smaller than my last one, um, that could be a sign that you're getting too small of a, or too little light. Now, I will say Monstera leaves do size up as they unfurl and do the thing. So let's see. But when it actually hardens off, if it is smaller than the leaf before it, bump up the light, and you will get a bigger leaf next time. No, small forms absolutely fenestrate. They absolutely do. They're just a little bit slower too, in my experience, but they will absolutely fenestrate just fine. I find that the smaller forms of Monstera don't get inner fenestrations quite as quickly. They tend to get, I mean, oh, here's a decent example. I mean, look at the difference between these two, right? They're the same size, and look how much quicker this one is going to like double sides fenestration compared to this one. These two are sitting identically next to each other on the same shelf, but this one is like way slower to do the fenestration thing, whereas the large forms tend to fenestrate very quickly on the ground. So I don't know. To me, I can't look at them and tell you that there's not a small form or large form. There's definitely a different. But yeah, the large forms tend to crawl better, and they tend to do a little bit better. One thing I would love to do, just as a full like disclosure, I think we think it's a lemon pom pom stumbino. We're not actually sure. Um, it was sold as a Monstera lemon, but we can't tell. I need to see But yeah, light is there. Average time between leaves is a great point, Autumn. Thank you for bringing that up. That's in my notes, but I got rid of my notes earlier, and we've been full ADD Patrick now, so I'm sorry. Um, you want to get a new leaf every 3 to 5 weeks is what I find is normal. As your plant matures, it's okay to like you'll get like my Andromeda puts out a new leaf like every 6 weeks. It's starting to slow down a little bit because that one's honestly not getting enough light, but I've slowed down its light exposure because it's going to put me out of house and home. But yeah, 3 to 6 weeks is good. Shayna, I really like the T1S for Monstera because the leaves lay flat, and they kind of like if you put a light above a Monstera, they'll do this kind of thing. The leaves will kind of sit here nice and flat like this. But if you put the light in front, then they do this, and it looks really cool. So Eloise, the reason that we do, yeah. So the reason that we say grow lights and we focus on grow lights in the winter is because they'll go dormant. And if they go dormant, then they just the winter, the cold season for them is just brutal because they just don't grow. The other thing in Australia, do you guys have how's your humidity in the winter seasons? Do you guys dip your humidity really low as well? Like, does it get down below 35? I know if you're like in Arizona or something, you have like 17% humidity, they have some trouble. So if you're going to go transition a Monstera to your outdoor environment, what I would say, yeah, Eloise, semi-hydroponic can be really good for that because it's almost like having a puddle of water underneath a plant. And so you get this kind of like the roots get really high humidity and they tend to like that. So it's a good way. Okay. So, oh yeah, Kaylin. By the way, what you're looking for is vines. So just look for vines. So see how many vines you have. If you've got like 5 vines coming out of your plant, then you're gonna need to make sure that you well, just take a look because yeah, each vine should be getting a new leaf then. So I'm gonna water this now because if I don't, I'm gonna forget to water through the pole. And when I water my moss pole plants that are in semi hydroponics, I just water through the pole, let it drip down, and we're good to go. Your nutrient reservoir, you can't see it right here, but the inside of this cup, the inner cup, goes down to about right here, and then the nutrient solutions stay below this. I don't actually make my nutrients come in direct contact. There's a wicking rope that goes between them. Oh goodness, Galen, yeah, it works. You can have a pretty bushy, crazy Monstera if you keep them all together, but I like to separate them. What pH? pH, you're going to be looking at, I always target my nutrient solution for 6.0 pH. And that is really important because as you get below like 5.5, then you don't end up getting your calcium to your plant and you get what's called nutrient lockout. So I aim for 6 because what typically happens is your nutrient solution will drift more acidic over time, usually. Temperature and some other things can affect pH, which basically is just how acidic, like if you're not familiar with pH, it's how acidic or alkaline something is. So acidic meaning like tastes like a lemon, and then alkaline like drinking milk. You want to hit a 6.0, and most tap water in America comes out of your faucet at 7.5 to 8. So you typically are pulling your water a little bit more acidic by adding in something called pH up or pH down, depending on which direction you need to go. Any lower than 5.5 and you start running into issues. Calcium can be affected, calcium uptake, and then your plant's leaves will come out kind of Quasimodo looking. But okay. Question. Yeah, Houston, Texas, humid. Yeah. Oh, planter. Yeah. This planter is 3D printed. I'm working on a design that basically borrows from this kind of a design. I really like just the simple cylinder look to it, but I'm working on my own. If you DM me and you have a 3D printer, I will happily share the file for this. Just shoot me a message on Instagram or something. But this is a modified version of somebody else's design. I want to give them credit for it. So I'm kind of working on a video to give them credit for this because we get a lot of questions about this pot. But I'm working on my own. 8 or 9. Good luck on that one. I think I will try to do that. I'm gonna try to buy a like really cluttered Monstera and separate one on a live stream because I know some of you guys have that going on, and I'd like to show you how to separate those two. The biggest thing is if you're going to do that, is just make sure that you go down in pot size when you do that. Yeah, rainwater is great. In terms of Shelby, in terms of plant, what you can do. Let me grab. Let's grab. I don't know. How about you? You're fine. Ooh. You guys want to turn this into a plant unboxing? I don't want to ADD you too much, but I did just get some plants in the mail. I'll have to go out and grab those real quick. So we'll grab this chonker. So this is one of my favorite pots. This Plants by Melissa. She actually turned me on to these pots. These are linked in our bio, and I use these all the time. They have an inner cup, wick rope, outer pot. They're great. They're less than $10 a pot. So I use these all the time, and they do pretty well. But yeah, this poor little plant had some spider mite fights a while back, so it's back and kicking. But you know, the best of us get the mites. It happens. All right. Yeah, I got some plants. You know, Shelby, it happens. You guys want to see it unboxing? I can go grab some plants real quick. I do have some plants in the garage. You gotta give me like 2 seconds. My mailbox is outside, so I gotta go run outside and grab it. I'm gonna steal my son's shoes, maybe. Nah, I'll just go shoeless. So you might lose my mic. I don't know how far the range is on this thing, but we're gonna go grab this out of the mailbox. Do. Drop it in the comments. What plants do you think I'm bringing out? I got it, which I usually don't shop at, but ooh, yep, there's plants out here. I got it from Bramble and Bloom. All right. Pings. It's not a ping. They fit in this little box. There's your next. It's not a Calathea. Yes, it's an Leica. It is a plant that I have never gotten before. Oh, you did hear me all the way to the mailbox. Okay. Nice. It's not corms. It's not an alocasia. It's not TCs. Oh, somebody asked me about this knife. I don't know if you're still here. This is a CRKT Pilar 3 with some custom scales on it. It's weirdly sentimental to me. I've had this knife for like the birth of both my children, and I've just always had it. But it's a wee whittle box. You're right. No, I don't think anybody's guessed it yet. It's not Hoya. Let's see here. It is, I think technically it's a form of succulent, actually. So this, I bought this because I am working on a planter. There's 2 of these in here. These are cool. Okay. I'm going to mispronounce this. This is a Haworthia. And I'm gonna pull this up here. I gotta see if I can see this. So this is the first one. I got 2. So let's see if this we'll see if this works. I'm on like a 12-second delay on this. So the reason I got this, I'm gonna run to the kitchen real quick, see if I got a flashlight. I don't know if this is one of the ones that does it or not. But yeah, this one not so much. But on some of them, they have windows on them, and this one's not. It's not going to show very well on the camera. but you can make them glow effectively, and this flashlight's just really dim. But as you shine lights into them, they glow. Now, what I'm going to do with these is I am working on a planter. Yeah, they have windows so you can see through them. Is I am going to make a planter that basically 3D printed. I'm going to make it and release the files for free if you guys want to do this with me. Um, and I'm going to make a planter that basically intentionally has a ring of light around it and shines light through it so your plant looks like it's glowing. So your plant, your Haworthia, ends up not looking like um, not like a plant, but more like a glowing gemstone, essentially. So it'll be a fun little DIY project that you guys can join with me. But I'm gonna shout these people out because they're really neat. They're semi-local to me. I think they're up in Seattle, but this is Bramble and Bloom. I found them on Etsy. They were super cool. My cat is growling in her sleep or snoring, one of the two. All right, so I'll get both of them over here. So this is one's a black obia something, and the other one is a emerald something or other. I'll read the names in a moment here. We'll hold these up here, but they're really cool. I found these things. I found some of these at PlantCon, and they're just really cool. They look really neat. So, like I said, I'm excited to try these. They're called Haworthias. But yes, that's my plant that I got. That was kind of fun. We get to do an unboxing on live. Somebody asked a question about, yeah, the small one just got over flowering. It very obviously had a flower that had been had just finished. Yeah, great roots on that. Suko actually absolutely right. PETG, and then add 3 walls. The other 2 settings that I have found really help is there's a setting to blend your infill into your walls, and I found that helps. Ironing on top surfaces can help. And then the final one is that if all that fails, there's a product that Gorilla makes, Gorilla Glue, Gorilla something, whatever the brand is called. They make a product that waterproofs stuff. You have to do like 3 or 4 spray coatings, and then whatever you have is going to be waterproof. So I'm going to move this a little bit closer. We're going to hang out. We're going to vibe for a little bit and just chill. Because I've been standing for hours. And all right. Sugo. Okay, perfect. All right. Now we'll just kind of chill and answer some blank questions for a little bit here before we wrap up a little bit. My family's not back yet, so we're still good. And then we'll kind of talk about next steps, because today's live stream was a bit chaotic. It was more of an introduction and stuff. Chilling like a villain. All right. Did I position this camera right? That's the trick. You know what? That's not bad. It's not bad at all. All right. Okay, so we had some questions about oh, you have some really great questions. I'm going to scroll back and I'm going to kind of answer some things in order because there's some really good things. Lady, shoot me all you know about these things. Haworthias, I know nothing. I thought they looked cool, so shoot me a message sometime. I think you messaged me on Instagram, I think, but I'd love to hear more about them. Okay, cats and plants. Here's the deal. If you have a cat that loves your plants, make sure that the plants that it can consume are healthy for them. The 2 things that I will say is putting your plants out of reach of your cat is great if you can keep them out of it. The biggest thing that helps us is I will grow my cat oat grass or cat grass, however you want to see it marketed as, but that's generally fairly healthy for them to eat, and they will usually go for that instead of your plants. So as long as I have that sitting down there for her to nibble on when she's in the mood, she will eat that instead of my plants. So I would rather she eat something that's not going to hurt her, and and keeps my plants safe. So it's a win-win for both of us. So for my cat personally, just putting her down an alternative that she doesn't have to like hop up onto a weird shelf and eat and doesn't hurt is good for her. So PlantCon Chicago, I highly recommend going to PlantCon. If you have the opportunity to go to one that's close to you, um, go for it. But if you go, Serena, go both days or at least day 2, like if you're looking for cheap plants. So day 1, go and buy the plants that you can't live without. If there's a plant that you're just like, I need this plant in my life, go grab that plant day 1, the things you're really, really looking for. And then on day 2, go in the morning. You can go a little bit later. You don't need to go first thing because the plants will be the exact same price. But about noon, you're going to start to see discounts. And some stores will do discounts immediately on day 1, so it's not a bad thing to get there early. But day 2 around noon, the prices on the plants are going to plummet. It is crazy. By about 10 in the morning, most stores that were not local, so like local stores don't typically drop the prices of their plants, but the more kind of more well, the ones that have to travel, those ones they raise the price or they lower the prices down by sometimes like 40% within the first half of the day, and by the end of the day they are like 70% off. And I literally had people handing me plants to please take. So I do recommend PlantCon. The people that go there, you should just know that like most of the people that are at that event are really volunteers. They label themselves as a nonprofit, I believe, and the people that are putting that on, other than I think the guy who runs it, are not really paid employees. They get like small amount of money. That's kind of like a stipend. So you know they're passionate about it. Cabinets, yeah, great way to do it. The step-by-step watering solution. So Lisa, anything that I have that we've talked about today, I'm going to kind of do in written form as well. So the live stream will be able to have people go back and take a look at it, and kind of get a summary of it. And then I will, like I said, put the irrelevant stuff in a kind of an easier to read format. Um, What's the largest size pot you would use for a huge Monstera? The largest that I have ever found, Thump, for a Monstera is 18 inches. If somebody knows where to find a larger one, please message me. I need one. um, yeah, drops, Justin. The drops are BTI drops. Oh yeah, BTS or SNS. Thank you, Suko. You got it. Um, you got permabanned on Insta. What'd you do? Yeah, fungus gnat death drops, by the way, Drea, they're the exact same things as just BTI drops. You can get them from Microbe Life on Amazon. Same thing, just BTI. Um, okay, Connor, you asked a question about alocasia. Your black velvets are just temperamental. They are slow growers. They are just kind of a pain. I have found that it's just about being consistent with them because they will just do nothing and then all of a sudden they'll grow a bunch. So don't be discouraged by them. I don't find that black velvets are very aggressive growers. A lot of the really dark leafed plants can be a bit slower just in general. Lowering the light actually sometimes can help them. Just not be so stressed about life. Um, Got some big phalo cuttings. So once they're done rooting, I just look for, and this is the cliche answer, but it's some kind of a chunky soil mix. If you want, like, what I typically recommend, Mr. Misfit, is if you're gonna like figure out what potting soil, mixing it yourself is really great. But sometimes knowing what that mix looks like can be a little bit difficult. So like if somebody tells me like, buy yourself a chunky, well draining mix, and then you go try to make that, you're gonna be like, I don't know what that looks like. Sometimes going and buying like an off the shelf soil, like some sort of bougie soil, can help you kind of go like, oh, okay, that's kind of what it looks like. What I typically do, well, I'll be taking something like some like a coir, kind of a coir husk, orchid bark, perlite, and then figuring out how much water retention you want. So you're gonna want something that retains water a little bit in there, which is usually what the like coir can do. And then you can put like worm castings in there. So you don't have to be too exact with your mix. It's really just kind of a feel and fun thing to me. Honestly, it's just kind of like you just kind of get a feel for like this is what I like. You're really. I tell people like just because a mix works for somebody doesn't mean it's going to work for you, because if you're somebody that waters on a different schedule, you're like you water more frequently, then a really really chunky mix is going to be great for you because you tend to overwater your plants, let's say, and a more chunky mix is going to dry out faster. And so I actually think in a lot of ways, like plants will grow in a pretty wide range of mixes. Sometimes the mix is more about you than it is the plant. So, for what it's worth. But if you need specific help on a plant, just shoot me a message on Instagram. I try to respond to everything. Um, Rainwater, yeah. Cats consume grass. Yeah, that checks out, honestly. My cat doesn't do that, actually. Um, oh, Serena is the VIP 220 VIP. I think that the VIP pass is more if I think that's more for collectors, to be honest with you. The benefits for PlantCon, the VIP pass is like that's more for people that want to get in early, right? You want to be there. Like if you got your heart set on like the best devil monster there, then you're gonna want the VIP pass so you can get in there and go find it real quickly and buy it. That's more for like people who are collecting, investing in plants. I don't think the average person needs VIP. Um, Ooh, alocasia. Should alocasia's new leaves be bigger? Ideally, yes, but alocasia do this thing where they'll shoot a leaf out and then they'll kind of have another couple leaves come out. So alocasia will sometimes do one big leaf followed by a couple smaller leaves and then a big leaf, and it just depends on how the leaf comes out of the rhizome and how it's going. So, and it depends on the alocasia. Some just grow differently than others. Um, let's see. Yep. Hydroponic stores, great for big net pots. For those of you guys that have left, thank you for checking us out. I really appreciate it. It's fun. Um, Will there be root drop? Unmasked Miranda, if going from water propagation to like will there be some root drop or root loss? Um, yeah, you will typically see some. Um, you won't see as much typically, but you will typically see some of it. It's kind of unavoidable. It's not about where you're going to or from. It's just the fact that you're disturbing the roots. Anytime you disturb roots, you're gonna usually um, lose some roots. Okay, somebody asked for the Discord link. I will put that back in chat for you guys here. That's our Discord. There is, as with like everything I do, it is completely free for you to come join and hang out with us. Um, Ooh, Kaylin, that's a really great question. I actually don't know if you could use mulch. I don't necessarily why not. I would just be watching for like pests or things like that. Sometimes those like mulch piles can get pests and stuff in them, so just be a little careful of that. Um, yeah. Um, Serena, if they invite us to come back to go to, oh, thank you, Serena. That's very kind of you. If they invite us to come back to, because they invited us to LA Plant Con, if they invite us to like Chicago or something, then we will have a discount code for people. They've not told us if they want us to come out to that one or not. They mentioned it, but they've not committed yet. So, but find a creator because there are going to be creators that have discount codes. So, Britt Parrish, botanically bee, I think is her handle. She should have a discount code, and she's lovely. Um, okay. The next thing, Eloise, how often should I check for my roots for rots? Great question. Um, I really don't recommend disturbing your roots. When you're converting to semi-hydro, you want to kind of let your plant do its thing. If you're seeing drooping, like if your plant's starting to droop and it's really looking unhappy, sometimes the solution is not to mess with the roots, it's to get the humidity up. When your plant like was used to having a big root system and we kind of damage it when we're doing that hydroponic conversion, the plant is the reason it's drooping is, and this is you guys want to have a little like this is gonna some of you this is gonna be like completely obvious, and some of you it's gonna blow your mind. Um, you know how you ever notice that like the symptoms for underwatering and overwatering are the same, right? It's drooping leaves, it's curling leaves. It always just kind of looks like dehydration. The reason for that is that in both cases of overwatering and underwatering, it's because your plant can't uptake water. It is dehydration. So you're either letting your plant dry out so much that it's not able to, the roots desiccate, they turn into little little mummies and basically desiccate, and then it dehydrates because of that. Or your roots rot and they fall off, and then you can't get any uptake of nutrients and water through the roots because they're just mushy nothingness. So what I typically say is when that's happening, it's not so much about, looking at the plant's roots doesn't help you unless you have stem rot. If your stem is rotting, then you got to get it out and cut it off and get rid of the stem rot. But if you're just got root, like if you're losing some roots, sometimes the best thing you can do is just get the humidity up, let the plant recover. That's one of the reasons I put HydroGuard in my nutrient mixes. There's a couple other products that do the same thing, but basically it helps the plant break down rotting roots and recover from that. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend necessarily checking on the roots. You want to kind of give it a lot of light, keep the humidity up if you can, and let it establish rather than constantly checking. When I first got my Thai, I was checking every day, like, are there new roots? Are there new roots? Get a clear cup if you can't help yourself. Get a clear little nursery cup and just do that. Then you can at least look at it. Barina T10, great light. It's a little underpowered. That's why they built the T1S, but for the money, I would just upgrade to the T1S. It's like 40% power, more powerful, something like that. So I think it's worth the upgrade. Yeah, so nutrient solution, lake temp, or lake camp, lake lake take camp. I don't know. I'm gonna guess. There's a lot. I'll call you Lake for now. um, uh, the nutrient solution, I will do a write up and I'll put it on the website. So those of you guys that haven't bookmarked it on our website, theplantandthepore.com, there is a Massive Monstera link. I will put some sort of um, a a guide in there for nutrient solution. I am going to be doing two. I've mentioned this before. I'm going to use my nutrient solution on one of my mint monsteras, and then the other one, I'm going to use a much more simpler foliage focus, and we're going to see what the difference ends up being. So like a nice little 1 or 2 part mix for this one, and then we will do my more complicated mix. My honest guess is that it's going to be almost identical. I don't think there's going to be that much difference. I think for the average person, keep it simple, and it'll be just fine. But I want to put my money where my mouth is. I want to, make sure I'm learning stuff too. So I'm always trying to learn. Okay. Julie. Yeah, honestly, I mentioned this earlier. If you know somebody that grows weed, marijuana, I'll just watch YouTube immediately shut down this live stream. If you know somebody that grows that, listen to them. They're usually really knowledgeable. They're good people to learn from. Are the streams only going to be on Saturdays? No. So what we're going to do is these longer streams like this, we will probably do on Saturdays just because of my availability. I do work a full-time job on top of this full-time full-time job. But we will do some Saturday live streams and just kind of hang out and stuff. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to do some like maybe evening streams because I know we've got people like I'm blown away. We have people in Denmark watching. We have people in Norway. We have people in Australia. Like I am it blows my mind. Um, we are going to we're going to be doing some at later times to try to accommodate for people that have schedules like that. So I might do like a 7 p.m. or something like that, kind of like midweek, maybe like a Wednesday, Thursday kind of thing, and do more like a drop in. So like more like this, where I'm not actively doing a plant chore because setting this up was chaotic. But it'll just be like you drop in, we do some just drop in and ask plant questions as opposed to like, here's Patrick doing a chore or whatever. We just do the thing. But what I will say, the biggest thing that I want you to take away from today is please make sure that you are giving that plant adequate light. I know some of you saw me do the plant conversion. We talked a little bit about grow lights, but if you hear nothing else from me at all, grab a grow light, get one of those like Sansi grow bulbs, the T1S, the TR40, something. Grab one of those lights that I've put there and go toss it in front of your Monstera. If you change nothing else about your care, and just see what happens. As I showed you before, we pulled out the meter, we looked at the window, it was getting 50 uh, 50 PVFD. And now it's going to be more now because there's actually sunlight hitting it. But half the day is wasted. Where it's 3 o'clock where I am now, and I'm just now getting direct sun coming in that window. Barely. It'll be there for an hour, it'll be gone. Um, you don't get a lot of direct sun in some places, and so you can't grow a big monstera on 50 ppfd. And I know a lot of you don't have ppfd meters. That's why I just kind of gave you some measurements. If you were curious, most of the lights that I recommended, unless you're using the TR40 you need to be more careful of. Set that more like 3 feet above the plant and start there before you reduce distances. But all the other lights you can put about 1.5 to 2 feet away to start, and then move them closer over time. I will have the Sansi lights. I have put 6 inches away from my plant and been just fine once the plant is acclimated. So don't get discouraged if your plant gets a little burning. Just back it off or reduce the time, and then pull it a little bit closer over the period of maybe 1 to 3 weeks, and slowly acclimate it to those newer, higher light conditions. Once you do that, like Monstera can take like 1,000 ppfd at no sweat. The Andromeda here in the other room, those of you guys that have seen that plant before, she's cooking 1,000 ppfd all day. She loves it. Lives should be rewatchable. As far as I know, they should be rewatchable. I think I'm hoping. But yes, we will be hosting. My plan is to make them all available. The Okay, I'm really excited you learned stuff. That's really honestly my goal. Like that's the whole reason we started our channel. Wasn't really a money making venture. It was just because I wanted to teach people about plants. Plants aren't as complicated as I think we make them. It just takes some time, and honestly, for me, self-control. I just watered my plants too much. That's why I'm in semi-hydro. It takes away that battle for me. I don't have to worry about it. I just top off the plants and we call it a day. Oh, thank you, Rosina. I actually missed that question. Um, the Yeah, so the book club, I'm working on basically migrating. Like I said, those of you guys that missed the earlier thing, I thought um, Thump, it really depends. Sorry, I'm going to answer this real quick. Thump, it depends on what exactly it looks like. If it's really, really hot, like Texas sun or something like that, you will probably burn it. So you might put it more like in the open shade outside. Um, just be careful. Shade cloths can be your friend. Um, Sansi light, I would start at 2.5 feet and see if you can get it down to 1.5 feet over the course of 1 to 3 weeks. Try that as a goal. Okay, so the question about uploading constant pictures. So the thing that I would say with that is we're working on migrating things. I had honestly, I know I kind of I said somewhat tongue in cheek that like, well, if we have thousands of people doing this together, people will believe us kind of thing. I thought maybe 50 people would sign up for this, maybe. I haven't looked today, but I went to bed last night at like 1,350-ish people. So it's way more administration than I thought. So I'm gonna have to basically build something on the website that lets you do that. So we are gonna do progress updates. So I'm giving everybody basically until the start of June to get to get signed up. And then the last week of May, I will send a confirmation email to everybody. Like, you're signed up, I got your stuff, you're good to go. If you don't get that, that's when you're like, oh, let me check in with Patrick. Obviously, I'm not going to lose you in the shuffle, but I will send out that confirmation email here in the next couple weeks, and that just lets you know, yep, I got it, you're in. And then we're going to have a like a way for you to upload photos of your plant's journey, because I want people to be able to like reference their photos and like take a look and see, and that's also going to help us that are going to judge and kind of pick winners for things. So yes, there will be a way to upload your photos. I have to build it, and honestly, that's just on me. I did not expect to get the response we did for this, so I'm really humbled by that. Um, oh yeah, I'll absolutely do that. Thumpa, nice. Okay. I will absolutely tell my wife Happy Mother's Day. She's an absolute godsend. I wonder if she's poked her head in at this at all. To say. Yeah, Katie, honestly, we started this and did this, as kind of like short form content. And I thought, oh, this is kind of a fun little idea. I thought, I didn't expect, like, we posted that video, that first initial video, and we'd only gotten like, maybe every now and again we get like 1,000 views on a video, and it was really exciting. And then I posted that video and it got like 1 million views in a week or something crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so that's when we kind of leaned into that a bit. But I plan on making this a yearly thing. So next year, I'm like talking next year plans. This year we're bringing in brands, so we're gonna have some brand sponsor giveaways and stuff like that, and I'll kind of handpick the brands so they're like brands I trust and recommend. We've had some really cool people. Like I've had like local artisans like reach out about like they want to do like custom pots and stuff, and just I'm blown away that people want to do that. But and then next year, I'm going to do the same thing, but I want to have a live stream set up on the plant the entire time. And then we're going to make like a full year long time lapse of that plant at the very end of it. So there's some stuff I want to do for next year. But anyways, um, you know what, like that'd be pretty awesome if you wanted to like measure stuff. I actually usually don't. I just kind of look at it and see. Um, Yes, and I can actually see what time people are signed up, and I wish there was a great way to do it. I may do the Saturday live streams a little bit earlier because of you people in Germany, but we've got literally every single possible place. It's crazy. We have a Discord, or Thumpa, we have a Discord where people can do that. And I'm looking at turning on the community tab in YouTube so that people can post photos of their plants. I think there. I don't know what the rules are, so I have to see if that's possible. I'm not sure on YouTube, but I for sure Discord. If you have Discord, we do our post there. And then Shanna, I put my Monstera in a south-facing window. I nuke those things. Give them, let them roast. Be careful. Like work them up to it over a couple weeks. But yeah, I put them into the south-facing and let them cook. Um, so if you want to post on Instagram, I started posting under the tag hashtag Massive Monstera 2026. So that's kind of the hashtag that I've been using. I follow that. So if you use that on Facebook or Instagram, it will actually notify me. So if you post a picture of your plant, then I can see that, and then I can actually like repost some of your plants that you share. So if you have Instagram, you can use any Monstera, Daniel. I recommend those kind of Monsteras, but like if you want to use like an Adansonii or something like that, go for it. I'm not growing any of the other ones. I'm going to grow these, but you can do whatever your heart desires. This is really about helping you guys grow big plants, as opposed to like setting crazy rules. We just want to help out people. Um, Monstera is meant, so your mint is small. I'm assuming it's maybe something like this. Um, The time that I would transition is I do about here, right? This one's actually is already in hydroponics. If you have access to fluval stratum, you can actually convert it to hydroponics in fluval stratum like this at this size. They do great. But if I'm going to go from dirt, this is about the size that I'm looking at. About this size here is big enough that the plant is stable to handle the transition, but it's not so like established in dirt that it freaks out. And not to say you can't do a more mature Monstera, but any bigger than that, like much bigger than that, and I'm usually doing a cutting and water propping. Kia Ora, what does that mean? That's awesome. That's very pretty. unless that unless you're calling me an idiot, one of the two. But I'm assuming it's a kind greeting. Kia-ora. Or is that a name? And I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly. How do you feel about Regal Shields? They're baller. Let's go. Let's talk Regal Shields. This is the greatest plant on the planet. You don't want a Regal Shield? You get yourself a Regal Shield. This buy one. If you're scared of alocasia, this is the alocasia to get. Regal Shields are awesome. Yeah, go get one. Highly recommend them. They are like all alocasia can be kind of finicky. Regal Shields are absolute bulletproof monsters. Go for it. Ooh, nobody has asked me that, Chi. Let's see here. Fluval stratum. Yeah, so fluval stratum, just mix fluval stratum 50-50 with perlite. And you can use it as either like you can use it as a substrate like normal, just water it and let it dry out, water it, let it dry out. Or you can go and do a hydroponic setup. So just reservoir wick into your fluval cup. I use that. Oh, I didn't plan this. So here's actually one right here. So fluval stratum, perlite 50-50. Alocasia and Monstera go nuts in this setup. It is a great way to recover plant. The fluval stratum has nutrients in it, and they just love this mix. It is, I mean, the roots are just like going. I just repot this like 3 days ago, and it's already got roots just going crazy all over the place. They root so well in it. But yeah, fluval stratum is a cheat code. It does not last forever. It lasts about 6 months and it starts to break down. So fair warning. Um, yeah, Brittany, I'm really excited we did this. I've been wanting to do this for so long. I I I think it's something that like not a lot of people do, like in the plant community, is do like live stream setups, and I've always wanted to do that. I wanted to offer like live help. That's what my professional background is, live help. And so I wanted to take that and bring it into this world. And I'm super excited that people want to do this. The fact that there's, we've had 200 people in here for most of the entire thing listening to me ADD ramble about stuff, and that blows my mind. So thank you all for your support. Um, my top 5 Palm Street sellers. Ooh, okay. Okay. All right. Number 1, I really love moose roots. Mason just he is like the nicest human being that I have ever met. He's ADD like me for sure. But his generosity, like if you're just gonna download Palm Street, you have no idea what's going on. Just join one of his streams when he's on. He's been on vacation for a few weeks now, but he'll be on, I think, in the next couple weeks. Just drop in on one of his streams. He usually streams kind of like four to 4 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific Standard Time until like 1 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. He's just, I don't know, his sometimes Palm Street sellers, like if a plant goes for too cheap, and I've seen this happen constantly on his live stream. If a plant goes too cheap, they'll be like, don't fail me, chat. Like, ooh, and they'll be like, okay, we can't run any more of those. Mason doesn't do that. He is just genuinely excited that you got a cheap plant and you got something, really affordable. He gives away, like most people will do like a one plant giveaway. They're like, here's your pink black velvet, and they'll do like one every half hour. I have never seen that man give away one plant at a time. He will shove an entire bag of plants um, of plants together, like tissue culture plants, and then he will give that whole thing away. Like I've seen him do thousands upon thousands of dollars a giveaway and a show. He hits a goal, he immediately wants to give it back to his community. He sets an example, I think, for people to do that. And this is, and it's not to say that he doesn't make mistakes. Like he makes mistakes, it happens. Um, but he's getting people around him to help him, like with his own, like just being too busy. And so I highly recommend him. And that's a great place to start. That is Mason over at Moose Roots. He has shouted me out more times than I can count. He has sent me plants. I have sent him plants. So we have each other's plants now. He sent me his favorite plant, and I have my favorite plant, or one of my favorite plants. And I'm going to put them together in one pot. It's kind of like a friendship pot. But anyways, um, the Where should we position the lights if the plant is in a west facing sunroom? It depends. Terry, think of it as like filling in um, the deficiencies of the room. So like if the room isn't getting enough light, you could literally just put it where the sun would be shining in. But the big thing with your lights, guys, is that your lights need to be facing the direction you want the plant to be facing. So if if you're going to be um, if your plant is facing the window and it's getting some decent light, then you're going to want to put the grow light in that window, basically shining in, which will be kind of annoying because you're going to be shining into your room, which is why all my plants that have grow lights are like pressed against walls and then the lights push into the walls. So, um, yeah, you win one of his givvies. I tell people winning a Moose Roots givvy is like a blessing and a curse at the same time because he has just given you like 4 hours of plant chores. So Moose is my number one. The other sellers that I really like, Rare Foliage, Yibo, is that her name? Yibo? I forget her name. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry if that's mispronouncing her name. She's just a really kind, sweet human. I haven't bought anything from her, but I've shouted her out before because she just seems like a nice human. I really like her. And I have some friends that have purchased from her before, and she's just super sweet. The other sellers, I think if you're just getting into tissue cultures and you know want like a more big box experience, I think Orange Lake Nursery is really good for that, because they just have a good pipeline for like assistance if you need help. I think they're the best of the big, I'll say big box TC places, but I think they do a good job. So Orange Lake Nursery is one I recommend. Um, the other sellers, who else have I bought from? I bought from Fontanimals House. Their packaging is like A plus. They were a little slow to ship, but their plants, like when it came here, it would have survived a nuclear apocalypse. It was fantastic packaging. That's the Dressleri up there is from them. I kid you not, I had to. Normally, I can get into a box without a knife. Like I like my knife like to open my knife because it looks fun on camera. But I can get into a plant box without a knife. It took it took me like 4 minutes to get into that box with a knife. Um, Fantastic packaging. New plants, NUI plants has been really kind to me too. I really like them. They sent me over some plants recently, and I'm not just saying this because they sent me plants or whatever, but I genuinely like they just seem like cool people and people that I enjoy. Um, yeah, Shelby, if you understand that Palm Street is a platform for sellers to sell on, so you need to be careful like who you shop from, but like Moose Roots is a great place if you want to try tissue culture. Understand you're going to lose some tissue culture plants when you're learning. It's just going to happen. But he sells like really cheap stuff that you can get, save up like 40 bucks and buy a few tissue cultures and just give it a shot. Once you learn how to do tissue cultures, it opens some serious doors. Um, um, yeah, so Desiree, we there's no R in that. I'm sorry, I pronounced your name wrong. Desiex TV. Um, we when you we have a video I'm working on right now that's a long form um, um video on tissue culture. So it'll take some time to get that out, but I'm working on like a full guide. But Orange Lake Nursery has a big guide for it on their website. But honestly, all you're doing is just cleaning off the root from the agar, and then you're just going to put that into like a fluval stratum mix as your substrate, just like I showed you on that plant over there. And then just keep it in 100% humidity or 85 to 100% humidity for about 1 to 2 weeks. Wait until you see root growth, and then wait until you see new leaf growth. Once you see a new leaf pushing, then that's when you're like, okay, the plant's established. Now I can start reducing humidity. I think the reason that most people fail with tissue cultures is that they try to acclimate them immediately. There's no rush. Let it acclimate, let the new growth start to happen, and then you can go ahead and start reducing the humidity. Till then, don't worry about it. I can hear Willow upstairs. She's upset that she's locked up there. Um, Pokecatch, why is the giveaway only in US? I love that you asked that question. I cannot control the import laws for 200 countries. Some countries I can ship to, some I can't. And as a blanket, just save space, I have to say US only. What I will probably do is there are some prizes that I can will be able to ship worldwide, and those things I will open up to everybody. But yeah, there's and that, and I'm not gonna I don't feel comfortable mailing a devil monster to some random country. It could be stuck in the mail for 8 weeks and be dead by the time it gets there. I know that I can ship a plant anywhere in the United States and it'll arrive there safely. So that's why that is only going to be US only. I wish I could do more. If I can partner with like a tissue culture lab in another country and they would be willing to ship a plant out for me, that might open up more doors. But that will be in addition to the devil that I end up giving at the end of the competition. So if I find a way to do it to other countries, we'll do it. But I could only commit at the time to what I knew that I could do, which is US based for that. But um, Des, okay, I can do Des. My pronunciation is horrible stuff. Bex, thank you for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Yeah, Moose is awesome. If you've never been on Palm Street, check him out. He's going to be the one that he will spoil you. You're going to join other live streams and be sad. It's not that they're doing bad. It's just he does it so well. And if you've been on Palm Street, you will actually see his influence on so many other sellers. The whole like dollar start auctions, that's him. He's the one that really popularized that and really just set that as the new expectation moving forward. So, um, anyways, yeah, drop the mooses and chats. Okay. Yes, Palm Street. It's one word though. Okay, so before we wrap up for today, I wanted to kind of give the last little bit of kind of information. Like I said, day for the first little bit, the big thing, dandy plants. Oh, I have not worked with them yet. I think I talked to them recently, but I have not actually met them. Um, I will let you know soon because I'm gonna be, and let me check my battery life on my phone. I'm flirting between my, oh, we're 55. Look at us go. I'm actually surprised by that. Okay, so let's kind of talk the last little bit here, kind of the last important details. One, remember lighting is key. If you do absolutely nothing else, um, light. Start with light. Get that grow light on there. Try to get it. Your goal basically is how close can I get it? How long can I keep this on? Up to 16 hours without the plant burning. Once you do that, if you've never done a grow light before, if you go for 16 hours, I guarantee you're going to see way more growth and you're going to be like, okay, I get it now. And then everything else that we do from here on out, converting to hydroponics, everything else is super simple. Once you have vigorous growth coming from good lighting, and some of you live in the tropics and you're fine, but most of us, Pacific Northwest, Midwest people, sorry, we just need lights to get good growth. So and the reason that I did, somebody asked me like, why am I saying that like grow lights are required? Nothing's required. Do what you want, but I say grow lights are required because some of you are going to hit winter and your plant's going to stop growing because you're relying on natural light and you're going to get 30 ppfd or less in the winter, and your plant's just going to stop growing. The rest of us are going to keep going past you, and you're going to go, oh, that's why we needed grow lights. So that is why. Um, we did that. The other thing that I would say, soil or hydroponics, you can do either. You don't have to do hydroponics if you don't want to. You can stick with soil. I thought about doing one in soil. I may or may not. I don't know that I trust myself for soil with how much other stuff I've got going on in life right now. So I may not do that this year, but next year we'll hopefully do that. Um, the final day for signups for like to be planning on um like if you want to win, we're going to make the final day for signups be June 1st is kind of the idea. Well, I'm hoping to do the next live stream on the 30th, I think is the date. So it's a couple weeks out. It gives people enough time to like get their plants established with like good vigorous light with their grow lights. So you got like 2 or 3 weeks to get that growth happening with your grow lights, get those nice and close, get them established, get them going. And then if you want to convert to hydroponics, that's going to be that May 30th, I think is the date we're going to do it. And that way you're ready to go. So your goal for like the next 3 weeks for the book club is just get your plant under a grow light and get it just absolutely acclimated to highlight conditions. And that way, when we do that May 30th live stream, your plant is just going to be ready to go into hydroponics and be just fine. There's no rush. Like you don't have to rush. Like just because I'm going into hydroponics at that point, if you don't feel like your plant is ready, don't do it. But we'll talk about that on that specific one. Um, the supply list I will put on the website, but all you're going to need is some sort of a way to do a self-watering pot. So you could do the vessel setup where it's like submerged Leca balls. I'm not going to do that myself, but all you need is some kind of a self-watering pot and Leca, both of which you can get on Amazon. I will provide some links on the website. I'll put some links in there that if you want to grab some yourself, if you want to like look for some pots, like, oh, I really like this pot. Will it work? Shoot me a message. I'm happy to answer questions. Bear in mind, there's 1,300 people signed up for this. So if I don't answer right away, I'm so sorry. I hit the point where I can't keep up with comments anymore. I try so hard. I set a goal to like answer every single comment. I can't do it anymore. I'm so sorry. It's brutal. What do you suggest? Yeah, the Costa Farms ones. For now, you can keep it in the same soil. That's fine. This is a Costa Farms one. They did not do a good job potting this thing. This thing is in like, there's like very little roots. It should not be wobbling like this as a plant I just bought from the store. But it's fine. Just make sure that you don't overwater it. Wait until it dries almost entirely all the way out. We're talking like 95% of the way dry, then water it. If that takes 2 weeks, takes 3 weeks, fine. But do not water it until it is 90% of the way dry, all the way down to the bottom. Let's see. Yeah, I think there are some people that were asking about shipping to Canada. We are working on that. That Canada might be an option. We'll see. I'm so close to Canada. I'm so close. Yeah, the pots that come with the plant, by the way, these are self-watering pots. I reuse their pots all the time. So they have a wick rope, they have a reservoir at the bottom. This will absolutely work. So if you bought a Costa Farms Monstera, they are almost always in a self-watering pot, and you can absolutely just reuse that. Uprooted, in terms of the size of Monstera that you should buy, my recommendation is kind of look for this size. So if you're buying like a Thai constellation, this will be sold for like $25 to $35 at Walmart. About that size is about perfect. If you guys buy these things from hardware stores, I don't know what it is about hardware stores, but I swear hardware stores more than any other place have pests. I don't understand it. It's more than Walmart, but it just, I don't know what it is. Like they're just always infested. Maybe it's all the lumber. I wonder if it's all the lumber they have in the like Home Depot and stuff that brings it in. Either way, I don't know what it is, but just do that. Yes, we will, Bradley. We will do that. If you got one from a hardware store, don't worry about that, but just make sure you monitor for pests. Yeah, just look at it. Always isolate. Just keep a look at it, and that's why like if I ever buy from a hardware store, because I do it sometimes too, just buy smaller plants and be really look them down. But you'd know it by now if you got one a couple weeks ago. Um, um, Shipping to Canada, I think I mentioned before, we will work on that. I think we can do Canada, as long as it's not, freezing, because sometimes it's freezing there. Moss poles, yes. I did one today. If you want to watch back, I did a little moss pole one, but we will do that the next time. Again. Awesome. Let's see. Anything other things in notes that I had? Oh, and then you'll want to pick a fertilizer. I'll give you some recommendations. If you want to, you can go my recipe if you want to, but that's absurdly complicated. Moose Roots, Joe. Moose Roots on Palm Street. He's not live all the time. Bookmark his shows for the future. He's just a wonderful human being, Mason, over there. So I'm going to be using this on some of my plants. I've never used this before. So I'm going to see if I can make a nice, simple nutrient solution and recommend it to y'all. Jack's 20-20-20 is another really great one. So Foliage Focus is a great one. Jack's 20-20-20. If you want just a one-stop shop, try those, and we'll do that one. Yeah, the nutrient recipe that I use is general hydroponics, but my mix is insane. Please you don't need to follow my example. I do it because I kind of like the chemistry of it. I'm not advocating that you need to do that. I don't want to like plant fluence you into something that's unnecessarily complicated. I do that because I like it, not because it's necessary. So go simple if you want to,
do something like that. Um, yeah, guys, this has been really fun. I'm blown away by the response. The fact that there's 100 and something people sitting around in here with me is nuts. Um, I'm absolutely humbled by you guys. Um, yeah. Okay. So next live stream for sure will be on the 30th. Before we break, has anybody got any questions that they want to ask? I know we've had questions, but if there's other questions, feel free to drop them in here. We got a couple more minutes for my kiddos, walk in the door and cause unrelenting chaos. But if anybody's got any last questions before we break, big things like I would say, if you're not a part of our Discord and you want to be a part of it, I will paste that link one more time in chat here. The Discord is a great place to get help. I'm pretty active on it when I can be. We've got some great people in there that help other people too. So if you want, help that's not just me, but some like-minded people, they usually, step in there. Drop that in there. There's the Discord. And then drop if you're on social media and you want me to see your plant, like if you want to show off your plant, the hashtag that we are using this year for fun is going to be Massive Monstera 2026. So if you use that hashtag, I should see it. It should notify me, and then I can like your plant or share it on my story so that I get to share other people, photos of other plants people are doing. I love getting to share what you guys are up to. I do not use neem oil. Neem oil smells like butt. Captain Jack's I've not had good luck with, honestly. I just, for whatever reason, it doesn't work for me personally. Um, oh, link isn't working. It says to block you. Neat. On our Instagram is a on Instagram is there's a purple link that says Discord. Click that and then that'll get you to us. But my brain just completely. Oh, no, Captain Jack's. Um, Captain Jack's I've never personally had good luck with. But most of the pests that I deal with is basically spider mites. It's like the only pest that I actually have ever really. I had mealy bugs for a long time, a full year, and I pain to get rid of. And I finally got rid of them. I've not seen one in 6 months. And I've never seen them since. But Captain Jack's does nothing against mealybugs in my experience because I've got a protective fuzzy coating on the outside of them. So that's the one and only time I recommend IPA. I just take a Q-tip and hit them with it. But I've not had good luck with Captain Jack's. The one that I use for spider mites, I don't have my sprayer here, but Mason from Moose Roots actually turned me onto it. It's called Mighty. It's on Amazon. I think I have it linked in my bio, but the bottle is hilarious. It looks like it came straight out of the 90s. It's a white box. It's got a sticker on it that's got like it's a purple and yellow lightning bolts. It looks ridiculous. It's very, very 90s artwork. But again, that's a recommendation that came from people who grow, weed, and that was their spider mite recommendation, and they should know. So I trust them. I've had great results with it. You just have to make sure you spray every 3 days for about 2 to 3 weeks, and that'll get rid of your spider mites for good. Well, for good until they come back. But yeah, spider mites, honestly, guys, they're like pests. Just real quick on pests. The reason people fail with pests is that they're not consistent. You have to set yourself a reminder in your phone and then do it for like 3 weeks. So every 3 days, I'm going to spray for spider mites and then stick to that. And the other thing that I do is I put a little like pest log journal up, and like I will, let's say I've got like 40 plants in the same room. I'll, when I spray them down, I'll just give them a quick check. Do I see spider mites on this plant? No, spray, because I'm still spraying even though I don't see them. And then any plant that has spider mites on it, I'll put a little tally on the sheet for that day. And it'll be like, okay, I found spider mites on all 40 of my plants. Crap. Spray. Second treatment. I found spider mites on 18 of my plants. And that way you can physically see, because I think sometimes we get discouraged by going, oh, I see spider mites still. But going like, okay, I'm seeing them on less and less plants, it helps you know that you're making progress. So, Daniel's, that spray, that Mighty spray, is a really great preventative too. Um, yes, Suco pest life cycle, 100%. You have to. It's called Mighty. There's a lot of like sprays that look the same. The one you'll know it's the right one if it looks like it came from a 90, like straight out of the 90s. It will be it's like blue, it's like purple and yellow lightning bolts. You can't miss it when you see it. Like I said, I think it's linked in my bio too, which is usually easiest to find on our Instagram. But that one's great. Yeah, it's on Instagram or it's on Amazon, excuse me. Some places don't let you ship it to your place, but the active ingredient is pyrethrins, something like that, pyrethrins. But I'm actually going to be testing beneficial bugs this year. I've never done them before. They're very expensive in my opinion, but I want to try them because I'm having a hard time keeping up with content and like maintaining pests and making sure I'm, doing proper treatments there. So I'm gonna try beneficial bugs for the first time. So, well, not first time, first real time, I'll say. Um, Also, Thumba, I'll actually comment on this. Your um, the life cycle, Suko and Thumba. I'm gonna like talk on this for 2 seconds here. The You can completely get rid of spider mites with no products. You can do it with water and soap. If you have the time to take your plant down, fully like take soap and a paper towel or something and clean the leaves and just physically remove them every 3 days, you'll get rid of them with no products. Because they don't live anywhere else but on the leaves typically. And so if you're physically blasting them off the leaf, you interrupt their life cycle enough times over the course of like 1 to 3 weeks, and that will get rid of them. So it takes more effort than just spraying the plant and walking away. But if you want to do the effort, then you can do it in your sink and you'll get rid of them. Um, Sounds like something. So never allow beneficial bugs into the house. Yeah. All right. You guys have been awesome. I am so incredibly thankful for all of you. Thank you guys for coming out and supporting this. Like I said, between now and the next live on the May 30th, your goal, get your plant acclimated to high light conditions. Push it. Like, don't be afraid to burn your plant a little bit. Try it. Like, get your plant used to that high light. Start a couple feet back, and then slowly over the course of a week or two, move that thing until it's about a foot and a half away. Like your Sansi bulb is going to be like right, your plant's right here. Your Sansi bulb is going to be like right here, right? You want to put all the light you can on that plant. So you're probably going to start about right here, and then move it about to here over the course of 2 weeks or so. Get it nice and close, and then let your plant actually start acclimating to that. As long as you're not seeing any burning on the leaves, then you're going to be okay. As far as the ppfd that you're aiming for, I'm going to say between two, you're probably going to start at about 150 to 200, and then you're going to bump up to about 400. Mine are like my big ones up to like 1,000, I think at this point, or 800 to 1,000. So they can take a lot. You just have to get them used to it. My philodendron is in pumice. Um, yeah, they're a pain in the butt. Billies can be weird. All right. Yeah, so Lake, I'm gonna see if I can get a lake hours, maybe, or not lake hours. Sorry, I've been talking a lot. We're gonna see if we can get like an office hours, kind of like maybe next Wednesday night, or actually probably next Tuesday. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But maybe like an hour long kind of thing. We'll just pop in here and hang out, and then we'll do a big long live again like this on the next Saturday. So, with that said, guys, thank you for hanging out. I'm looking at that screen. I should be looking at this one. Thank you for hanging out. I'm really excited to have you guys and be here. I'm really excited to be doing this. I'm really excited that you guys are going to be joining us in this journey. I'm looking forward to seeing your plants though. So if you post a picture of your plant, make sure you use that hashtag Massive Monstera 2026. I checked, nobody else had used it. So put it there. I want to see your plants. I want to see how you're doing. You will get a confirmation email in the next week or two where it says, yes, you're signed up. If you don't get it by, let's say, like May 24th, if you don't see it by May 24th, shoot me a message. I do still have everybody sign ups, but I have to migrate you all to a bigger system because you guys put 1,300 people on the sign up sheet. So I have to come up with a better solution because I was not expecting this. So again, absolutely blown up by your thing. What kind of store? Shayna, agricultural supply store. Ask the bonsai growers in your community. People who grow the small big trees. Those people know. but agricultural supply stores is where to get cheap hummus. And yes, you can use any Monstera. I don't care if it's a TC or not. I've got a TC that my Devil Monster will be joining us. This was actually a TC. There's no hard fast rules. The point of this is just grow a big plant. I want you guys to succeed. I'm not putting weird restrictions on it. Just pick a plant, before and after photos. Let's do this. My goal is to help you guys learn. So heck yeah, Devil. My link tree is in my bio. So if you go click on our on YouTube, if you go click our actual like about us, it should be up in there. If you can't find it there, it's really easy to find on Instagram or Facebook, both. They're just in our bios. Usually there's a little thing that says link there. And if you can't find that, theplantandthepour.com, pour is in pouring a drink. That has the link to the Massive Monstera page. And I'm going to put all that we talked about today in written form so that you can kind of get a refresher on there. So cool. All right. We need a demon. Nice. You don't need to. I'm giving away a Devil Monster. That's the goal. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys. We're gonna sign off for the day. I got to actually film some content for y'all, so I got to film my short videos next. So with that said, thank you guys so much for hanging out. We'll catch you on the next one.
This is gonna be undramatic because I got to walk over here and turn it off. But catch y'all on the flip side. Thank you all again.